Hello, everybody. There's a lot of people waiting in the chat. And guys, we have a really big day today in this stream. As many of you probably know who are subscribers of FinaticFilms Jack's channel, I have been over there a lot. And I mean a lot in the past couple months. But I have been dying to have Jack on my channel and have not had the chance. And today, the man is off of works. Chat Sports released him for the day, so he can be here. Jack, how are you doing today on your day off? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I've been excited. I'm excited to be on your channel, and it's going to be fun. I'm excited to talk. I've been able to talk about this movie with anyone except for myself, so it's going to be fun.
I know, because I feel like not a ton of people I know have seen it. A couple more people in my life saw it like last night because they were finally able to get around to it. But yeah, it'll be nice to get to chat about it. I'm going to just start this off, and I'll say this throughout the stream. But guys, I know most of you who are here are subscribed to me and are kind of, I see you in Jack's streams too. But if you are not subscribed to Jack does very similar content to mine. He is a much better film reviewer than I am. He is a professional, a journalism student, and he is just the best friend a person can have on this site. So please go support his channel if you don't already. Please and thank you. This will not be the last time I ask, but way to go. All right. Reagan, perfect first question. Did I not put this in the title? I guess I didn't. Can I change titles this late or no?
Yeah. You just gotta go into your YouTube settings.
Let's see. Okay, yes. This is gonna be, you know what? I'm gonna put a banner really quick while we're chatting and do spoiler. Oh, wait. Goodness gracious. Everything I learned about StreamYard is from Jack.
She's like the hype man today. That's
I am. I try to be. All right, let's see. Scroll across bottom.
Professional movie reviewer. Wow, that's some high praise.
Okay, so we're gonna do spoilers there, and I'm gonna have to add Jack's channel into the credits because I don't have it there yet. I made this yesterday. For all of you who are watching live, yes, this will be a spoiler review because we want to talk. We haven't gotten to talk about it much. We've both been busy, but I have been in the midst of a move, so I've been kind of just throwing some stuff together with YouTube lately. So this will be a spoiler review. I'm gonna get Jack's stuff in the channel as we kind of get chatting about stuff, and I can kind of work some things behind the scenes here. Alex is here. Alex, how are you doing? Happy Saturday. Hope you're doing great. Crushing the box office.
Which it was going to.
I mean, I don't think anyone's really surprised about that, mainly because it's Marvel and it's back. And also it's a character that's not had a film for a long time, which, Jack, I do want to ask you, because this has been something that's been brought up, either addressed to the positive or like kind of dismissed as not a concern. Do you have any feelings towards the fact that this film has come too late for the character? Is it too little too late? What is your opinion on this film? With a little bit less spoilers so I can kind of change it around while you talk.
No, I don't. I think I'm glad she got a film or a project, because everyone up to this, besides Hawkeye, who is getting his own show later this year, has had a project. So no, even though spoilers for Endgame, which y'all probably should have already seen it, even though she dies in Endgame and we probably will never see her again after this film, this film served as a very nice kind of epilogue. Even though it took place before Endgame, it was still an epilogue. Yeah, no, I don't understand those complaints because it's like, she's done, but there's so many answers to questions that we didn't get answered, which I feel like we got answered in this film.
I totally agree. I mean, I said it in my review. I feel like this is her, and I think you use this exact terminology, Jack, but this is really Natasha's like swan song. And to me, it works that we know her fate already as a character. It makes a movie which, just because of the character, has to have a little bit lower stakes. Like, Natasha can't really be taken on the same people like Captain Marvel can, obviously, because of her like superhero skill set. It's just not the same. And so to me, exactly. And so having this be like a prequel, to me, it's kind of just natural. And like you said, we get answers. Specifically, spoilers are going to be starting. I changed the title, so hopefully, we get the answers to Budapest, or Budapest, as she says in the film. which is super exciting because that's one of my favorite like references in the original Avengers. Jack knows how much I love the Avengers, but I like, what did you think about that line of like, what bullet does this? And she's like, arrows.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I loved it. I love because I'm like, as soon as I knew, oh, we're going to Budapest, I'm like, all right, well, this is the one question that none of us have answered. So you better answer it here.
Yeah.
And so I was very satisfied with that. I loved those little side quips. I enjoyed all of that. One thing I want to say about the Too Little Too Late before we get further into specific
Yeah,
things,
absolutely.
it made it more impactful. I saw someone in the chat saying this, and I completely agree. Knowing her fate made this more impactful, especially for smaller moments, like, and we're talking spoilers, the end of the movie after the battle ends, when she comes up in the motorcycle, she's got her short blonde hair like she has in Infinity War, and she flies off in like the jet or whatever to go find Eve and do that. We're like, okay, here we go. She's going. This is it for her. And after they play the Avengers theme, which is dope and awesome, when they pan down to the trees with like the fireflies, I don't know if you caught this, but I'm pretty sure the score that's being played there is the score that plays on Vormir. I'm pretty sure.
It sounded very familiar, but I'm not that good with scores to catch that.
I would have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure it may have been an iteration. It may not have been like note for note, but I'm pretty sure that when they pan down the trees and you see the fireflies at the end, they are playing the score from Vormir when she makes her sacrifice. I'm pretty sure. So to already know where that's going and to get that moment, it's like, oh my God, like chills. Like this is great. So no, I think everyone that has the other argument saying it's too little too late, you can argue with a wall. I don't agree with that. I think she deserved a project. Better late than never.
Yeah,
honestly,
definitely.
Great beginning to phase 4 for the movies. And we'll get into we're going to get into the post-credit scene later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Great.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I think like one of the things that I think was so impactful with this film is we've been moving this way through phase 3 a little bit, but getting individual directors to take on franchises. Like James Gunn is the Guardians guy. Ryan Coogler is Black Panther. We've got Taika Waititi with
all the good movies.
Exactly. Pretty much. And so like I like the idea of having these films be, instead of superhero being the genre of the movie, have a different kind of genre like with superheroes applied to it. Like with this was very much a spy espionage thriller. And I'll get your take on this too before I need to get to the comments. The opening credit sequence. Beautiful. Because to me, it very much reminded me of like a Bond opening, which I think it was supposed to.
That's exactly.
So like, I think it set the tone, but do you have any gripes with it being as long as it was or anything like that?
I think it drags a little bit. I'd say if the only thing, and I always say this about films. I said it about In the Heights. I've said it about a few other films this year. You feel the runtime, you feel it drag a little bit, but what do you cut? What do you cut? It's kind of like that what do you cut like syndrome or whatever. Like, yes, it's long. Yes, it feels a little dragged on at times, but what do you cut? What do you cut?
Right.
I think everything that was placed there for a reason. I like where it went. Maybe the stuff at the like farmhouse or whatever with all 4 of them, maybe that's a little too long. Maybe we could have cut a little bit of that. I don't really know, but and some, the Red Room is long. That is a long third act.
Yeah.
Very, very long third act. But for the significance of what it stands for Natasha and her character and all of those moments that were happening, what do you cut there? I don't really know. So 225 in the grand scheme of the MCU doesn't really feel that long, but there were moments that did feel like, all right, let's go. Let's get moving. Let's get moving.
Right.
So.
Well, and I definitely think you make a good point there, like the farmhouse specifically, because I would say that's where a lot of the emotional weight for their like second family or family of spies moment, like that's when they were really dealing with stuff. And like you said, yeah, does it run maybe a little longer than it should or could? Definitely. But then when there's all the callbacks to the emotional things they couldn't say in that scene, in the final act, in the fight sequence in the Red Room, or the almost heist like explaining like how they accomplished and pulled off some of the things that they did, if that was shorter in the farm scene, then I would feel like, oh, we're really skipping over stuff. Like we're really not, like they're just montaging it. Whereas because that was so long, then any of the callbacks to it feel earned, you know?
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's literally like, yeah, it feels long, it feels convoluted, but at the same time, in the end, it comes back to pass, and then everything ends up making sense. It's like that's kind of the thing. It's kind of like hey, it was really slow at this point, but now that we're at like the big action and all of it, oh, okay, now it makes sense. It's
Yeah,
kind of like that, and that's the whole point again of like, okay, well, since that's the case, what do you cut?
exactly.
You really can't cut anything because it's all important. What do you cut? That's kind of
Absolutely.
what it's down to.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get to some of these comments because those were my two things I wanted to address. And if anyone else has any opinions that like differ from ours, because I feel like we pretty much agree on like most things with this film, at least what we've gotten to talk about so far. So if you have any differing opinions, definitely leave them. We want to like not debate, but like just consider opposite,
Oh, we'll just
thoughts or rip you to shreds, whichever we're feeling today. It's a Saturday.
coming.
Who knows? Who knows? Hey there. Thank you so much for catching one of the streams. Super appreciate it. Josh from After Credits is here. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Josh, he has been doing a lot of retrospective MCU stuff in the build up to Black Widow. You need to go check out his ranking and Jack's ranking, which there's a couple, they've got a lot of similar ones up at the top. But Josh has surprised me, whereas I think, Jack, you and I have a couple more that are up towards the top that are closer. I'm still working on mine for anyone curious. I've been getting a lot of comments like, oh, is there ranking coming? And there's so many I haven't seen. Because then I'll get a comment on my letterbox list that'll be like, why do you have Ant-Man so low? And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I didn't mean to put it that low. Well, but then I'm like, I guess I did. I just added, because I was like forgetting some of the movies. So I was just trying to like add them all into the list. So I had them, but I didn't know you could private a letterbox list. So it's just public. Oh, yeah. And I've gotten more comments or things on it. And I'm like, oh, well, no, I don't like that movie. I'll actually move it further down, like, or whatever. So that's
rankings are the hardest thing because it's just because like, especially with the MCU, it's like for mine, I said it multiple times in my ranking, which just came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, past this point, I really like all the movies. I don't really have like that many problems with them. It's just which one do I like more?
Yeah.
Like Black Panther's down in like around 13, 14, 15. I love that movie. People are going to flame me for having it so low. But I just like the other ones more. It doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of, they're tough. And I've been
doing really is
lately, and they're tough, and they're long videos to film.
They are. And I think the other thing with the MCU is like, I feel like you have your personal favorites, then there's like, even if you want to take like some subjectivity to it, I think there's about half that are like absolute bangers, like fantastic films. And then there's like another half that are like, and I'm not saying that as like as films in general, or that I don't love them for what they contribute to characters. But like you said, like there comes a point where there's movies that it's like, no, that's a good movie. Like I'm trying to think. For me, I think Doctor Strange and Black Panther would probably be two of those that I'm like, no, they're really enjoyable movies, but like I have no really attachment necessarily to the characters, or like it would be higher up if I didn't like, I don't know, like the original The Avengers so much, So yeah. Okay, let's see. Completely. Okay, Alex mentions, I think Scarlett Johansson is done with her Marvel contract and her legacy lives on with this movie.
Yeah, she's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way I've seen talking in her interviews, she's just like done. She's done.
I definitely think this was something she always wanted for her character, and I think now that she's able to like have the pull that she does, like she was executive producer on this movie, or one of the executive producers, I should say, and I think she wasn't going to leave until she got this solo movie, and I think it was deserved for her character, and I'd love to know like her take on putting input into a character she's played for 10 plus years. But yeah, and I did read something in the news, Jack, I don't know if you saw, but Marvel is reportedly, again, I saw this online, so I'm not 100% sure who the source is, or like believe it.
Long contract thing.
Yeah, the thing about kind
Yeah,
of doing
Feige.
people kind of when they're interested and whatnot.
Feige quoted. That was Feige quoted. He's like, well, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but basically, like, there's no such thing as like long movie contracts anymore, or whatever. Is that what you're talking about? You're talking
Mm-hmm.
about, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was quoting that, saying like that whole model is like obsolete now. That's just not how it is. So yeah, um, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that really is that big of a deal because these people want to play these characters. You know, we've had Tom
Yeah.
Holland say he wants to play Spider-Man forever. We've heard Anthony Mackie say he could probably do another 10 years of Captain America. I mean, I don't really, and Sebastian said, basically said, if whatever Kevin Feige asks, I'll do, as Bucky. So like, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I mean, I think back then it was a big deal because it's like, okay, we need to lock these guys down because we're still building this thing. But now that it's the larger than life entity and entertainment that it is, I don't think that's a problem at all. I
Yeah,
think they're all
I
family
totally
there.
agree.
So
I totally agree. I think there's characters now who have been around for a long enough time who aren't just going to, I don't know, they're not just going to say, "Oh, I'm not doing this anymore." Bye. Specifically like the ones you mentioned, like Mackie, Holland, even after WandaVision, like I don't think that Paul Bettany or Elizabeth Olsen would necessarily say like I'm 100% done. I would say Elizabeth Olsen that's more true for than maybe Paul Bettany.
I think Bettany wants back. I don't think that he's going anywhere. I just think that his deal's done. So there's like, all right, we'll re-up the contract or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I think too. Go
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think too, with like them venturing more into limited series and stuff rather than movies, which they need to be on a year contract for so they can have sequels or really, like you said, set up a grand plan in the MCU. Like, I think now with a TV show, like someone like a Haley Steinfeld, right? Now that she's just going to be Kate Bishop, who's a pretty iconic character, has a huge fan base, and hasn't even like been on screen for 2 seconds in a trailer. Like, I don't think she would say, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to do 2 seasons of this show and like be done with it," necessarily. If the offer is still there for more, which I was listening to a really cool podcast today about how Marvel writers like they're given certain material of like we'd like to make a movie or a TV show about X. Like it was specifically talking to Jack Schaefer, the creator of WandaVision, and saying like, or the showrunner for WandaVision, and what like she was able to work with, how she was able to pull like Darcy and Jimmy Woo, like it came from a pre-recommended list of characters of like who they may want, but like there's enough customizability. That's not really a word, but like there's yeah, exactly that you can pull that Marvel can pull now because like you've said plenty of times, like on the one hand, it's such an iconic thing that like who wouldn't want to be a part of it, but on the other hand, like we were talking about Wednesday for Loki, like some of the actors who are maybe more prestige or elite or actors potentially, like we were talking about Ethan Hawke or Angelina Jolie, like if they have kids and they can make a good sum of money, like why not do it, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, and then that's the whole thing is like, oh yeah, I'll make a payday and then I'll dip. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing, and I don't necessarily for Angelina Jolie, I don't necessarily believe that because I think the Eternals are going to be huge in the MCU going forward. Which by the way, I was going to tweet this earlier, but I ended up not doing it. I've watched that trailer 15 million times, more than I've ever watched any trailer, and it's not for the trailer itself; it's for the score. It's for that freaking score. It best original score at the Oscars. Knock knock knock. Watch out for that score. But like for yeah, so for like Jolie, I think that the Eternals are huge, are going to be huge for the MCU going forward, and I think with Ethan Hawke, he's playing the villain, so I think he could be a villain for one season and then dip, which I guess is fine, but I love Ethan Hawke, so it's like that kind of sucks, but it's like we talked about, like in Loki, it's like, well, they are at such prestige that they could bring in like an Owen Wilson, kill him off in one season and be done, which we came to find out wasn't really what happened. But they are able to do that now with these high prestige actors. And I'm just like, I don't know how much I love that, but fine, basically.
Yeah, it may give them more room to like mess around with stuff. I'm gonna be right back. My AirPods just died, so I'm just gonna grab the wired headsets. Jack, you entertain the people. I'm gonna pull up Lofty Link's comment about releasing it after she died, and you give your thoughts on while I grab my headphones. Oop.
Yeah. All right, Lofty Lang, let's do this. Let's do this ish. Yeah, no, you're actually the one that I was talking about when I was talking about the end of your comment was the one I was talking about when we were talking about the end, like with the with like the score from like Vormir and stuff. People were overlooking her as a character because she's doesn't have all the superpowers like the others. It's just kind of that simple. Her and Hawkeye, you know, one shoots a bow and arrow, one shoots 2 pistols and does some cool moves. That's kind of it. But yeah, people appreciate her more now because she's one of the core 6 and she's been doing all this stuff. So I agree with that comment. And that's the thing. I think if you would have released a Black Widow movie in phase 1, I don't know how impactful it would have been. You release it now at the beginning of phase 4 after she's already made her ultimate sacrifice in Endgame. Yeah, it makes sense. And everyone's going to watch it and love it. And it's going to be impactful. So I agree with that comment. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I feel exactly the same way. Is the audio still good and fine, or is there any feedback or anything?
No,
great, good. Sweet. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's more impactful because, like you said, Jack, like seeing her have this story that doesn't, like, it literally could not be placed more perfectly, in my opinion, because there's no real possible way any of the other Avengers can just pop in and like steal the show. And like because it's set in Civil War, some of them are in jail, some of them aren't talking, or like there's like severe hatred there.
That's like the running gag of the movie is like, you know, Yelena says, you know, where's an Avenger when you need them? And like, you know, David Harbour's like, you know, oh, you know, where's like Captain America or like one of your Avenger friends to like help us? Or so it's like they make that a running joke, but it's like so it's being self-aware.
Yeah.
We are not obviously after Endgame because she's dead. We are at Civil War in a crossroads when everyone is separated, no one's talking to each other. It's perfect placement because yes, you cannot have a Tony Stark fly in and save the day or a Captain America come in with the shield and like help everybody out. Like it has to be Natasha.
Yeah.
So that's perfect placement. You know.
I completely agree. Completely agree. Cassidy, you've got a new sub, Jack. Cassidy is the sweetest. She left me the sweetest comment yesterday. Hasn't even seen Black Widow yet. Stopped by today's stream and my review yesterday to leave a comment. And one of the questions she asked, which hopefully she can rewatch this later if she's interested. She asked me, which you had talked, obviously both of us love Florence Pugh and specifically love her in, yes, chef's kiss for her in everything, but especially this. Yelena Belova is my new favorite character. And so one of the questions Cassidy asked me last night was, I heard that Florence Pugh or Yelena somewhat overshadows Natasha, which I think people were just kind of praising her as a newcomer to the MCU. But what is your take? I still feel like it's very much ScarJo's movie.
She overshadows her in the moments where she is supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You're such a poser.
She overshadows in like the small moments, which is fine. But to the core, this is still Natasha's story. It starts and ends with her. Obviously, you haven't seen the film yet, Cassidy, so I won't get into heavy spoilers with it. But it starts and ends with Natasha. She's the one that has to start and end the journey that she goes on. And the film very much ends with Natasha. You know, she's the last one we see on screen. She's all the other characters aren't even there at the end. It's her and the guy who got his own poster.
The guy from Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, it's her and the guy, and that's it. And Florence Pugh, I could talk about her for freaking ever. She's my celebrity crush, first off, but second off, she really is the best part of this film. The conversation in the car talking about the vest is one of the funniest conversations.
Oh my gosh!
Because she is so serious. Like what she's saying is hilarious, but she's so like literally the line, "Yes, I knew you loved it." Like it's so funny, but she is so serious. And you know what I picked up on the second time I watched it is because when she was like mind manipulated or whatever, she was like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
If you really look at how she acts in this film, it's kind of like a a younger child
Yeah.
because she's been brainwashed this entire time. So when she gets out of that trance, she doesn't know anything better. She doesn't know any better. I don't know what the fuck that is. She doesn't know any better. She's
Yeah.
been brainwashed since she was like 6 or 7. So she's like, she acts like she is a younger kid, but it works because it's hilarious. And we get to see her mature really fast. And she's just the definition of perfection in every way.
Yes. You actually raise a really good point that I was not even thinking about, of how, like, she asked Natasha a lot of questions like, oh, did you ever want kids? Even though she knows that's not a possibility for either of them. And she's asking all these questions that, like, you kind of start to ask when you are like 6 to 10 range, like trying to figure out how the world works, deciding if there's things you like or don't like. And she's like, oh, I want a dog. Like, I mean, I know that's like something that, like, for me, like when I have big girl money, like living in a house or apartment that I pay for, and I'm good. Like, I'd love to have a dog. That's like an adult decision, you know, taking care of another creature. But like, that is something that like a 6-year-old would want. Like, I want a puppy. Like, I want a dog. And that's the first thing that comes to her mind. And wow, that makes it so much more impactful of like, she's been robbed of this childhood. And like, even Natasha was at least, well, she's been out of it for longer. So she's been formulating her identity for a little bit. I don't know exactly how many years this would be from when we first meet her in Iron Man in the timeline world, but like, she's had at least that time outside of the Red Room to like decide who she is. And so,
oh yeah, by that point she's fully in her own. Like, she is who she is, and she's not any of that.
well,
Florence
and even
Pugh,
her,
like 3 days.
right, and even her decision to be free and like not be controlled isn't because of a chemical substance. It's like an active choice that Natasha makes in Budapest to free herself. You know what I mean? Because they talk about that difference between psychological influence versus like actual chemical changes. So
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, I just wanted to get your take on that. Let's see. Okay.
I could talk about her for an hour and a half.
She's great. Lofty Lang asked, portrayal, love her. I cannot wait to see more of her. I think she's phenomenal.
I can't freaking wait.
Does this make you more or less excited well, obviously it makes you more excited for Hawkeye, but how, like, I feel like you are maybe not the most excited for Hawkeye. Maybe I have the wrong impression.
I like
really?
Hawkeye.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Hawkeye.
Okay, well then let's
But
actually,
now it's a billion times more exciting.
yeah, absolutely.
Not like, okay, it was 10 times more excited when I found out she was cast, because that was common knowledge even before the movie came out. But now to know the context, it's like a billion times more excited, because I know where they're gonna go with it. Not even because of how it's set up. It's because I know where they're gonna go and how they're gonna execute it. Yeah, 95% sure.
95% sure.
I know where.
I guess now we'll use this comment as our time to talk about the post credit scene. So anyone who is now maybe was testing the waters for spoilers, now we're talking about the end credit scene, which is a lot of future stuff. So go, if you're here, it won't hurt my feelings. It's okay. But
no, don't. You got to sit and listen to it.
Well,
listen to it. Open your ears. You have to listen to it. You have to listen.
If you've listened to this many spoilers so far, I mean, at this point,
yeah,
you're just,
I said how the film ended already. Like, if you're still here, you're gonna sit here and listen.
Stay seated, everyone. Both now and after the credits roll in Black Widow. Exactly. But I think
this stream's going forever. It's never ending.
It's never. We're just gonna you're captive here now.
I'm gonna switch over to my phone and take you to work. It's never ending.
Never. Jack will just be like, it'll just be the wall, and he'll just be typing.
Yeah,
away.
I won't be talking. I'll just be here.
But what is your genuine reaction to the end credit scene? The first time you saw it, 'cause you've gotten to see it twice. Is there anything you catch the second time that you were like?
Not really. It's pretty straightforward. The first time I saw it was in my home by myself, and I uttered a audible "holy shit." Yeah, it was at like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm sorry to my neighbor next to me, but I was like, holy shit, they're doing that. So that was my first reaction. Second time watching, I already knew it was going to happen. Pretty self-explanatory. Nothing really. Nothing really hidden there. It's pretty straightforward.
Did you forget, because obviously watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, when Val, Julia Louis-Dreyfus herself, shows up, I was like, oh yeah, I've read that she's supposed to be in
I did
Black
not
Widow.
forget that she was going to be in it. I
So
was
I
waiting for her to,
did.
I
So
was waiting
okay.
for her to show up. I was like, when is she going to show up?
So I had totally forgotten, and then I hear the nose blowing that she does, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I lost, like I was like, holy crap. Like I had to calm myself down to like leave the theater, because I was like, I'm way too hype right now. Because for those of you who are watching that, maybe I've talked more about this on Jack's channel, which you should go
You love
subscribe to.
Valentina and you love Julie.
I love Valentina. I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I love that she's getting to play this role, because I mean, watching her in Veep is very different than her in Seinfeld. Like Elaine is very just like quirky and like kind of just like going on her own path, like doesn't really care what other people think, but she's a little like,
Selena is just a terrible person, but hilarious.
yeah, Selena's is yes, very just crazy, but she's still funny. But then Val is like, I feel like even more so intentionally, like she has the power and the confidence and the like no one holding her back that neither Elaine nor
She's a mix of
Selena
both.
do. Exactly. And so that's where I'm like really interested. So someone commented last night on my review about, what was it? I can't remember what the comic book line was called, but it was some sort of like supervillain team with that had both Zemo and US
Avengers.
Agent.
The Dark Avengers.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it was something like that. And do you think that's where it's going? Like, do you think we're gonna get a supervillain team up, and or do you just think that Yelena's gonna be used as like the antagonist for some portion of Hawkeye?
No, I know where they're going with this. Well, yes, they are setting up the Dark Avengers. That's what they're doing. It's what they did with John Walker, now U.S. Agent. Yelena's been part of the Dark Avengers in the past, but I don't think that that's where they're going to go. They're going to partially go with that. How I think this is going to play out, 95%. And if I'm wrong, that's the 5%. I think the way that they're going with this is that she's going to be the antagonist, not the antagonist of Hawkeye. I think she's going to be like a side barrier, because I think there's a whole nother storyline with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. They're fighting somebody else, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is somebody Farminga, the woman who is in Devil Made Me Do It, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But I think she'll be like a side obstacle for a bit of it. But what's going to happen is, like, I would bet you there's going to be like a heart-to-heart conversation between Yelena and Clint that is just like, yo, I did not kill her. She was family to me. I loved her. This is what happened. And this is where we are going to have Yelena finally taking the torch of Black Widow and become Black Widow. Like that. This is where it's going to happen, because it didn't happen in the movie. Didn't happen in the movie. Didn't happen in the post-credit scene. But everyone has said, like, she's going to take over that mantle. It's going to happen. This is where it happens. And who better to do it than Natasha's best friend? Yeah. Best, like person she was closest with. Like, what better than for Hawkeye to be like, yo, this is yours now. Like, carry on her legacy. Don't tarnish like what she did by killing me because I'm cool and I'm Hawkeye. But I think that's my theory. I don't have any insider information. I don't know. Right. But I think that's where that's going. I think that's a pretty reasonable theory. I would say pretty much the same thing. And I mean, it honestly would be fitting too, because I don't feel like a lot of people talk about Age of Ultron a ton, at least not the circle I feel like I follow on like Twitter or something. But Clint has kind of always kind of been like the dad of the group, making other Avengers. Like, he pretty much tells Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, like, you're either in or you're out. Like, let me know. Like, I'm just kind of the guy. Like, I just have arrows. I'm the dude with arrows. And floating rock. There's robots trying to kill us, and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense. Either stay here, or if you walk out there, then you're an Avenger. So you got to make that serious. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like that. Yeah, something exactly like that. And I feel like this series will be the perfect time for him to, I assume at some point Jeremy Renner will be done. And so him passing the torch to Kate Bishop and to Yelena at the same time almost, and like being a mentor vibe to them. Yeah. Okay.
Alex says Marvel lately learned from Scorsese's comment on the MCU and literally tried to use techniques. I think what Alex, I guess I will sum up what I understand
A little more
Alex's comment to
cinematic.
be. Do you think that is a response to
No,
Scorsese, or do you think it's
no,
just the direction?
because they planned so far out in advance. Scorsese made those comments like what 2 years ago.
Right.
They've already planned out. They already had Phase 4 planned out by then. I
Yeah.
I think what they had to do with where they were growing, they had to make it this big payoff. These Infinity War, like they had to make it these big payoffs, and that's what it was going to be. Like that's what it was going to be. Now they are basically at a hard reset. They're back kind of at square one. That's what Phase 4 is. It's taking specific characters, giving them smaller scale stories, bringing in people to try new things, bringing in directors, Chloe Zhao, to these brilliant directors to really make just pieces of art. Like I said with Eternals, it's going to be a piece of art. Like that is going to be one of the most incredible things we've ever seen. I truly believe that. I don't think that that's a response to Scorsese, because honestly, I love Scorsese, but F him. Those comments,
Yeah.
I don't think Feige gives a crap, because they're still making billions of dollars every year. It doesn't matter to Feige. He will do whatever he wants. Don't think it has anything to do with Scorsese. I think they already had it planned out. I think at this point, they're just so high, and the platform is so high that they're just like, we can do whatever we want. Let's just get
we can
let's
make a
get really
superhero
cinematic. Yeah.
show,
But it's
and
like,
we don't care if it's about greed. Like, you're so right. I think this was, to me, this has always been the logical plan for Phase 4, in saying like, we're gonna make specific character focused films. Not that the MCU hasn't been that, but like really shape like the aesthetic and the tone of the film in a genre type way, with a very individual director or like artist of sorts, filmmaker at the helm, and go forward with it. I completely agree.
We're going to bring in these really talented creatives that are renowned for their smaller stuff or their indie stuff, and they're getting award consideration. We're going to bring them in, give them the creative freedom to do what they want, and turn the superhero genre into not a joke. That's basically what it is. And I don't think that is a response to Scorsese. I think one, that's just good business, because that's what you want to do. You want to get the best of the best to make the best of the best in the entertainment, which is what superhero movies are right now. And I mean that in like, they are the biggest and most popular. And yeah, so you get those respected people. Again, going back to Chloe Zhao, she just won Best Director for an indie film about nomads in the desert. Now she's making a superhero movie. And Feige let her do what she wanted. She wanted to do pretty much completely practical. She wanted to do practical sets. Feige let her do it. And it looks like a freaking masterpiece. And it looks like a piece of art. Just the trailer alone. And you can tell it shows.
Yeah.
Like those shots, it shows. So I could give an F what Scorsese says about comic book. And again, I like Scorsese. Like Wolf of Wall Street's top 10 favorite of all time for me. I love Goodfellas. I love all the things that he's done. My light.
Oh no.
But F him.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, at the end of the day, if Marvel cared so much about Scorsese's opinion of them, and if he knew so much about how to make money, The Irishman would have done a lot better than it did, or people would have watched it and sucked up the 3 hours, or Marvel wouldn't even exist, because they'd just be making, like, Kevin Feige and all these people would just be making movies like, yeah, like at this point, the money speaks for itself, which you've pretty much said, Jack. Like, it's not really an issue of one man's opinion, which I believe actually someone said recently that he may have been misquoted in the thing that he said.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he was really crapping on superhero movies. Kind of what I'd have to go back and read it verbatim what he said, but I think people overreacted to that a little bit. I don't necessarily think that it was that big of a deal. I think really what he was saying is they're just not my thing.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with superhero culture, is that it's so toxic that like Emily Blunt can make a comment and say, hey, superhero movies just aren't my thing. And then people are flaming her for it. And it's like giving her opinion. She just doesn't like him. Just because she doesn't like him doesn't mean she's not like talking bad about you. She's just giving her opinion. Like I could come on and say, oh yeah, I just don't like superhero movies anymore. I just don't like them, whatever. And I think that's what Scorsese was kind of saying. Now, did he say it in the best way? Did he say it the right way? No, he said it in a way that was not great, and it wasn't phrased right. But I don't really think he wasn't saying like superhero movies are trash or they're, you know, the worst thing that ever happened to movies or cinema. Like that's not what has happened, not what's been said.
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Marvel Studio Woe, and then I'm gonna try to catch through these. Jack, you're gonna do your I can't do it. The woe for the stream.
Studio Woe.
There you go. This was a great Marvel spy movie, and I love it for that. In the grand scheme of things, I think it doesn't have a major impact, which we've talked about the prequel, lower stakes. I think it has it's sits in the sense of when people rewatch chronologically the MCU, it fits well, and then it gives her solo film. But the thing I want to get to in this comment is Taskmaster and Dreykov as the villains. I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts about the villain? Go.
I don't have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so personal to Natasha. If it wasn't so personal, I would have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
But Taskmaster, I'm a little iffy about. I like where they went with it. Technology, I just don't know anymore. I like where they went with it because it was an examination of Natasha's grief. That's really what they were pushing at, pointing at. And I'm a big grief guy, and that sounds really bad, but I'm a big grief guy. And like, film
it's a good motivator for a story.
The examination of grief, which is what they've done a lot to start Phase 4. So I like where they went with it. The only the thing that I'm like, the thing that makes me kind of like lukewarm about it is like, yeah, they went about it in a good way, but it was with Taskmaster, who in video games and in comics, he's done a lot more. And I would have loved to have seen him against some of these other characters. They could still do something with Taskmaster, like they could take the tech. I don't really think that's how that works, but it's kind of tricky. I don't, but again, I get where they were going. So like, I'm not mad at it. I'm just kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of just saying a Taskmaster, and he's kind of a cool villain in other places, and kind of would have liked to see him against other characters, because really he's only fighting against Natasha. He fights against the Red Guardian, kind of as far as we go. And we didn't really get to see him, because he's a mirror to all of these heroes. So like he can fight like these other heroes fight, literally move for move, mirroring them, which we get to see when he fights Natasha on the bridge. They're like mirroring each other. But we're not going to get to see that anymore with like any of these other characters. Like I'm a little lukewarm on that, but again, I get what they were doing. The fact that it's personal makes it feel better, but
I pretty much completely agree. Like I like I don't even mind the Taskmaster is not the big bad. I think my just one disappointment is like that character has been very prevalent throughout a lot of Marvel, throughout comics, video games. There's a board game I have called Villainous. It's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons type quest like campaign game, and like he's in there. And so I think he's a great villain. And I think what's a shame, I thought it was a great twist that it was Dreykov's daughter, because it gave, first of all, it made Dreykov look even worse. Like he doesn't even give a crap about his own daughter. Like he'd do this to his own like flesh and blood. Mm-hmm. But then also it gives Natasha her like redemption moment of being able to say like, I'm sorry, and like potentially fix things for her, even though like she's been tortured, but like at the end of the day, she gets to be the one to set her free from her father. But I think my major issue with it is just that it's like, I feel like it will either be like, it has to be a real writing challenge and exposition kind of dump to be like, oh, so-and-so got a hold of the tech. But it wasn't even like, I don't feel like Taskmaster was like, she herself does not have the motive. It's Dreykov that has the motive. In a way that like a character like Killmonger can be a really great one-off villain, like, and one of the greatest villains I would argue since like Heath Ledger's Joker. in The Dark Knight, in the way that you mirror, go against, juxtapose the hero. So that's a shame to me that Taskmaster and the tech and the abilities and the iconography of the character couldn't be used further, since this is a prequel, and then if it's anytime in recent memory, it'll feel like, oh, well, they just did that, like if he popped up in season 2 of Hawkeye or something.
Yeah, they kind of backed themselves into a corner there, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll see Taskmaster again. That's kind of why I'm a little lukewarm on it. I don't like, there's ways you could do it, but I don't think they will. So it's just like, I think Feige's got everything to his disposal pretty much. So he's just like, Taskmaster's a cool villain, but we got other cool ones, so we'll just use him here, and then there's other ones that we're going to use other places. So
totally agree. Chad, how are you? Happy Saturday. And hey to Anna as well. Thank you guys for stopping by the stream. If you guys are not subbed to Jack, go ahead. His link is in the description. Alex said the same thing. My only issue is the villains. Touched on that. Taskmaster is supposed to be a better, more important villain than was portrayed. They dropped the ball. I think at the end of the day, it's like Jack said. It's specific to the character and the way they did it. But does it suck that now none of that mirroring tech or abilities as a fighter is ever going to be seen with anyone other than really Natasha? That's the bummer.
But again, it's like, she's a Core 6 Avenger. This is her movie. She deserves to have a foe that she can go up against. And Taskmaster's that foe. Let her be that foe. Like, we get Ironmonger with Iron Man and Whiplash. We get, the Winter Soldier. We get Red Skull for Captain America. And then we get half the Avengers for Civil War. We get Loki, and we get, Malekith, and when we get Hela. I mean, like, they have people that are up to their same standards. So it's like, I don't think that Black Natasha should feel any lesser. Like, she's a Core 6 Avenger. She should have a villain that is up to the standards. I think people are kind of undervaluing her, which I understand. Like, she doesn't have all the superpowers like the other ones do. But at the same time, it is like this. Think of it. This is like an Iron Man movie. This is like a Thor movie. This is like Captain America movie. It's a Core 6 Avenger getting a solo movie. People just don't hold her to the same standards. So yes, Taskmaster is a big villain. Well, she's a big character. She's a Core 6 Avenger. So it's like,
no, that's a great point. That's a great point, and especially because in something like Hawkeye, who's the only other Core 6 Avenger, I mean, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, but he'll be in She-Hulk, I think. So like, maybe we'll get that there. But like, if you have a potential multi-season TV show, you can have a couple of lesser villains and still feel like you have the importance there. I definitely agree. I think that's a great point. Like, I would have been disappointed if maybe the only villain was Dreykov and it didn't have that other line of
guy behind a chair.
Yeah, that's what it would feel like. It'd feel like we're going up against the one guy and like a bunch of his cronies, whereas this made it feel like we can identify one of the people he's tortured, even if we don't know the rest of them, as his daughter, and can kind of get past that. Okay, Colin from That's So Hollywood is here. What is up, Colin? How are you? And Colin poses Black Widow as being better than the Winter Soldier.
Wrong.
I cannot speak to this because I have not watched the Winter Soldier in so long. But Jack, share your thoughts. You have a lot, I can tell.
Black Widow is a great movie. I gave it a B+. Don't have a problem with that. But the Winter Soldier I gave 5 out of 5 stars. That means I've rated it 95 or higher. It is one of the greatest achievements in the MCU so far. It was the first film that took a complete tonal shift in the MCU by going to espionage thriller, had a fantastic villain with great emotional value to Captain America. The twists, the turns are brilliant, and you get some of the most iconic moments. The elevator fight scene is just incredible. I'm sorry. I really enjoy Black Widow, but the Winter Soldier is top 4 MCU for me. It's in the top 4. And it's also the introduction to the Russo brothers in the MCU, and we've seen where they've ended up. So I just have to respectfully disagree. I don't think that that's true at all.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. You heard it here
first.
Opinion.
I'm not flaming Colin. He's entitled to his opinion. I just think that opinion is wrong. That's just me.
Colin would do the same thing if it was you posing it the other way. He'd give his opinion too. But you have something to agree on at least, because Colin says, I'd let Florence Pugh ruin my life. I think everyone feels that way.
Run me over with a semi truck and then I'm not gonna simp any harder than that, but
That's I think that
she
says
is.
the extent of
She
it.
is. She is. I've had a lot of celebrity crushes. Everyone has. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It has never run as deep as it does with Florence Pugh.
Well, there you go.
She is just the cream of the crop.
I think she's just so funny and charismatic in all of her first of all, her as a person, and then in her performances, she just really like you almost forget it's her, but then you also can't forget it's her at the same time. You know, does that make sense? Like you're sold on who the character is, but you're also like, oh, but that's Florence Pugh. Mm-hmm. It just like makes it better.
Yeah, how do I change bodies with Zach Braff? Like
just switch Freaky Friday it. Just
but forever.
just never like break the no going back. Sorry, there's no reversal
Sorry,
here.
Zach, you are staying.
Bye.
Bye, bitch.
Okay, Reagan says similar question, which you bring up Civil War and Winter Soldier. Which one? Winter Soldier?
Civil War.
Oh, okay. So why Civil War? You made a great point of Winter Soldier over Black Widow. Why Civil War over Winter Soldier?
It takes everything Winter Soldier did and ups it by 10. The emotion is more here. The stakes are higher than they were. And so, oh yeah, and by the way, Winter Soldier, it just completely destroyed S.H.I.E.L.D. That's pretty significant. But the repercussions of this film are 10 times higher than Winter Soldier. The emotion is 10 times bigger than Winter Soldier. The villain, I think Zemo is very underrated in the MCU. Y'all are just sleeping on that man. And just the way that they're able to set up what they set up for Infinity War and Endgame, you had to answer the toughest question. How do you break up the Avengers? Like, like the Russo brothers and the two writers who their names are escaping me right now, had to answer the question, how do you break up the Avengers? And they did it to perfection. So yes, Civil War is top 3 MCU for me. And it's just a brilliant piece of filmmaking, and in the continuity of the MCU is just one of the best. And it's Avengers 2.5, so
there you go. Listen, guys, I haven't rewatched. I have seen Winter Soldier several times. For the longest time, that was like that and Iron Man 3 were like my top MCU movies. Like for a good bit of time.
Girl, let's go.
Oh, I love Iron Man 3. I saw that in your ranking and I was like, yes, like people do not appreciate that movie because obviously we get so much more Tony than outside of his trilogy. But to me, that's the perfect end to his trilogy. We'll get into that later time. But like, yeah,
sleeping on that movie.
You guys are. You're sleeping on it. Go rewatch it.
Go watch it again. You're sleeping on it.
Try it.
PTSD, mental health. Watch it.
When he has to leave that bar because the kid drew the picture of the portal, I cry. I've every time. I've
driven past that bar before. It's in California.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So many things have been filmed at that bar.
I'm sure.
It's like an iconic location, but
I'm sure. Okay, Alex, I had to bring this up just because this would suck. I would be pissed if this happened to me. Was in the theater watching Black Widow, and because of rain and thunder and tropical storms, I'm assuming potentially 5 of the minutes of the movie, they didn't like go back and rewind it.
Guess not.
That sucks. Yeah, what did you miss, Alex? I want to know. I'll catch up to the comment. Yeah. Well, I liked that. I thought that was very important to the end of the movie, but Jack can have that opinion. Funny that you mentioned this, Alex, because I was really surprised. Usually you go to the theater and they raise the lights for like the normal credits, and then they dim them back again when it's about like the end of the credits for the post-credit scene. And then they usually like raise the lights again, like, okay, show's over, like go home. Ours, because it got out at like midnight, they just kept it off. So we all had to like turn our flashlights on to like walk out of the theater after the post-credit scene because they were just like, yeah, no, it's go home now. Like
there was
leave.
After the post-credit scene, they popped up like, like before a trailer, they've got like the like it's rated PG or PG-13, like, in this, so like, it been approved to show. So they popped that up, and obviously it's just, oh, here's the rating for Black Widow, whatever. But I've never seen that before, so I was like, "You dirty dogs! Are you about to show us a Spider-Man trailer at the end of this movie?" But I was like,
Would they do it though?
No, they didn't. It was just Black Widow's rated PG-13 for breaking her nose, but the most gory thing I've seen in any MCU movie. So
yeah, it was. I think it was brutal that she did it to herself too. Soha says the amount of people who left the theater when the credits
same
came up.
thing happened at our
No one left my theater. Not a
Nah,
single soul.
a bunch of people got up and left my theater.
Really?
People are slipping. Gone for 2 years and they just forget.
They don't remember anymore. I mean, this is crazy to me because the MCU has fundamentally changed the way I watch movies because like I will be in a theater, literally any movie. Like it doesn't have to be anything, and I will sit in my seat during the credits, like everyone's leaving. I have to like pull my legs up so people can get past me so that I can Google, does this have a post-credit scene or not? And like some movies have them now. Like it's become a lot more frequent in the last like, last like 10 years than it was obviously in the early 2000s, but like I just cannot believe that people would just get up and just be like, yeah.
They're sleeping. It's been 2 years. They're sleeping.
It has. Okay. Lofty Lang is saying Hawkeye was first announced. I think they accidentally. I don't think it was an accident. I'm pretty sure they said Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh is going to be in it.
They didn't do it right when it was announced. It was months later. They were like, yes, she's been cast in this. And it was not, it was not an accident. They announced it.
Yeah. I didn't realize that's where they were going. I figured this would have to be something. I figured the post-credit scene was going to have to be something to do with Yelena because she's going to be seen later. So like they had to reconfirm like you're going to see this character. And then when she said like I'll show it, and it was like, okay, I thought, okay, it's probably going to be Hawkeye. She's going to spin it this way.
I thought Hawkeye was.
You thought it was going to walk up. I kind of wondered if the sniffling was going to be like him.
Especially when we saw that he was at her grave. Like when we saw that, I was like, yeah, Hawkeye's gonna show up.
Yeah.
Because then even Valentina says, "Oh, I I hate the smell of the Midwest or whatever." It's like it's right where Hawkeye. What if she's just buried in Hawkeye's like in Hawkeye's farm or whatever? Just
no, I guess she could be. She does mention there's a tree and she's buried like her mom, which I feel like that was supposed to be a callback. But no, you totally could be right. Like Clint would be the one to make sure that Natasha was buried properly.
Yeah, gets a proper burial and shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, we are going to see Hawkeye right now. Here he comes.
I hope we get to see his cabin. That is like my favorite thing. He just lives on the cabin, and I love when him and Natasha are in Age of Ultron just driving. He's like, I think I'll redo the kitchen. Like he's just like talking about it. Like he's just a normal guy, and I am so tired. And Jack, it's because I follow so many Kate Bishop like stan accounts that I get this, and so I do it to myself. But like the discourse has become because Natasha forces herself off Vormir to get the Soul Stone, and it's like you have a family, like blah blah blah. Everyone's like, she had a family too, and like it should have been Clint. And I'm gonna say it here because it's my channel and I can say it. I am tired of this. You guys just don't want to like Clint because you don't want to like Clint because I don't know why you have problems with Clint, but why, people?
The whole thing that they're saying, like when they're at the cabin, is nah, that wasn't real. This is the whole thing. Like, oh no, that wasn't real. We were undercover. Like Clint has a wife and has kids that he had with his wife when a man and women love each other very like that. That happened. It wasn't some fake Russian BS crap. That happened.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all are wrong.
Well, and no one is trying to use the argument. First of all, to me, that is the redemption of. She obviously has more.
Natasha and
that's what I'm saying.
Ledger. Like
exactly.
Pissing me off. Get out of here.
Get him, Jack. Get him. No, but I'm just tired of it. I love Hawkeye's wife. I love his family. He names one of his children partially after Nathaniel. Like they are best friends. They are integral to each other's stories, and he saves her and helps her make the choice to leave the Red Room as an agent. And so she does that so that he can go back to his family.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's the full encapsulation and final nail in her metaphorical coffin, and literal coffin. It's the
Yeah.
final, like, all she's been trying to do since she joined was clear the red off her ledger. She's wanted to clear all the bad that she's done. She's wanted to redeem herself. This was her opportunity, and she did it. Y'all can suck a fat one. Stop.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that because I make a lot of like, y'all are sleeping on my boy Clint, like tweets. And I almost made one this morning, but I was like, you know what? Why do I even like listen to these people? Because like at the end of the day, I don't need to convert you. I love Hawkeye and Clint Barton and his family enough that I don't need other people's support. But I'm just tired of like, it's not like he pushed her off. And like part of him being complex, like people are acting like him being Ronin too is like the reason he should die. Like Natasha did some messed up shit too. Like I'm not excusing Ronin behavior, but that adds complexity to the character who literally otherwise would just have been mind controlled by Loki one time and then like has a secret family, you know?
Yeah.
Just give it up, people.
Clint
give it
is
up.
Such an underrated character. Y'all, he's got some of the best moments in the MCU. He has some of I quote that conversation with Wanda all the time in Age of Ultron. That is one of the best conversations in all of the MCU. Like, y'all sleeping on the man. He's the only person in this franchise that has an actual family. Like, let the man live. And that's the whole thing, is they are both going to sacrifice themselves. It's not like Clint was like, nah, you do it. I'm not going to do it because I got a family. That's not what happened. Clint's literally like, nah, I'm going to do it. Like, he literally says, like, he like pushes her down or whatever. And he's like, tell my wife I love her, as he's going to jump off the cliff. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You're wrong. You're just wrong.
I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of this behavior from people online. People, I'm covering up. Some women in comics are scantily clad, is all I'm going to say. But I have my Hawkeye. I also have the one which I think is partially the inspiration for the show. The one by AJ something and Matt something. I don't really remember. It ran from like 2012. But I'm just tired. Like Hawkeye, there's a lot of him in the comics that has not been addressed in the MCU that I think is going to be brought in. So I'm tired of this Hawkeye slanter, this Clint slanter.
I'm ready for this.
I'm over it. Yes, Alex is too. Alex says, this got me so hyped for the Hawkeye series. Do you think, Jack, and I have this weird feeling that it's going to be like a January release and not
October? October makes the most sense. It's the 1 month we don't have MCU content. Put it in October.
When is Miss Marvel supposed to start?
Maybe in October. I don't know.
I wonder if that one's gonna be October, just because
Hawkeye was announced first. It was filmed first. I don't. Yeah, no, Hawkeye now, please.
Yeah, I want Hawkeye first too, but they do have some Christmas stuff that I'm like, maybe they'll save it, and I just don't want them to pull like a.
Christmas doesn't mean it has to be during. Well, maybe it does, but
it could be the lead up to it though. Like, I don't know. November is Christmas, except for like whatever day Thanksgiving falls on.
Did Iron Man 3 come out like around Christmas? I doubt
No, you're right. It didn't. No, neither did Die Hard. People. So yeah, I don't want to see this as an excuse, Kevin Feige.
It could be snowing. It's not Christmas time. It could be January.
Yeah. Okay, Feige. Come on. Yeah, Feige, don't make us wait for this, okay?
You're wrong, Feige.
Yeah.
Why are we waiting until November for the Eternals, Feige?
You just release it now.
Release it now.
Coward, we dare you.
Release
we triple
the
dog dare you.
Trailer, even though you don't have control of when it goes out, coward.
Get it to us. Reagan says, Sasha, you gave me time to edit. Reagan, I'm so glad. Don't spoil it. Reagan has been so cool about staying in my streams, and I'm mad at him only because he's gonna get spoiled.
He's high-key sitting there, and we're just on mute. High-key.
Yeah.
We're
definitely.
Just on mute. I would bet you. We're just
Reagan, you are a real one. You're a real one.
Doing What If weekly.
Yes.
Which is lit.
I think that's going to be awesome. I think I'm probably going to take a break from that.
I'm not doing that either.
I just can't, I don't think I can do it anymore.
My Loki, I cut him from the streams, but they do absolute dog crap. Like the one from this week got like 20 views. So it's too much work. And with What If, like, I don't know. To me, it's just going to be a fun show and a fun weekly watch. Yeah,
but I don't want to like digest it. So, there's not that much there, I feel like.
And it's right in the middle of blockbuster season. Just no time.
Yeah, exactly.
Then maybe I'll cave
Okay.
in anyway.
Might. Who knows?
What if live streams every Wednesday? Let's do
it. when it drops.
If this really happened, what are we thinking here?
Yeah, what are our theories? What if this was real?
But if like this really, where
we go? Each week, Jack and I will just be creating a new version of the MCU.
A new version of the MCU.
We'll be re-explaining all the movies.
We'll be creating a third version of the MCU. We'll have canon, what if, and then our
version.
Ours.
Rewriting
the MCU a third time.
For why not? Okay, Jamie says, I agree with Jack. I think they want us to think it's happening, but she will learn how much Clint loved Natasha, and then she will bond like no tomorrow with Kate. Yeah,
yes.
To me, it makes absolute sense for Yelena and Kate to be like best friends the same way Clint and Natasha were, and just move forth and be like maybe the co-heads of the Young Avengers. Like, that's 100% what I see happening. Okay. Danny says the opening credits were amazing, and I honestly thought I was watching a thriller for a minute. It's really sad to see what's happening and see the monsters these people are. So this was something I brought up, and I think like
yes, it was.
I think this. Thank you, Jack. I feel like there's a really strong point being made here about modern day human trafficking. Did you feel that in the movie, Jack, or did you
it was
like?
Scary.
It is. It really is, and I feel like they did it so well, and like I think. The one thing, just because I want to say it again, because it deserves more credit, like, I think there's things, like, I'm never going to knock a superhero movie for not having a deeper message or whatever. Like, if we're just spending time with characters we love, if I laugh, if I feel like I got my money's worth, like, that's a good time to me. But, like, when you can do it as well as I think Black Widow was able to, that made it both enhance the story, but gave the story your real world example of, like, what is actually happening. I think that's super powerful. And there's a couple, and I'd have to rewatch, and I don't want to get too into it because I don't want to like get political or say something I shouldn't, but like there's definitely some vibes in the opening credit sequence and some of the people they used that are very similar to I don't know if you ever watched the Jeffrey Epstein docuseries.
I have no desire to watch that.
It really makes you sick to your stomach, but that had a lot of the same qualities, I guess I would say, of like showing police photos or circling things and circling figures. And I think that was just really powerful. And that's why I want to commend that opening sequence. But even while still doing all that stuff and maybe adding a little to the runtime, 3 minutes is not going to kill anyone. But like it also shows how Yelena and Natasha get broken up in a way that kind of transitions from their life in Ohio to them being spies as adult, like brutal adulthood, real world, horrible things start happening to them in the blink of an eye in 3 minutes. And like,
yeah. And it also shortened the credits at the end too.
Exactly. Because you didn't have the
credits out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
absolutely.
It's just an awesome opening.
It was fantastic. I would love to see more of that. Obviously, it won't fit every movie, and that's why I like that they did it here, because like that's the way a Bond spy thriller movie opens, and so like it works so well here. But if it's never done again, I'm not gonna, it's nothing to cry about. But let's see. Okay, Feige said 2 years ago that Phase 4 is going to have a lot of team ups. They can focus on characters and bonding, and now they have the clout to get any director. Yes, I think now you need the team up characters a little bit more than you do in the very beginning, because like Robert Downey Jr., even at the start of Iron Man, even having the history and personal history that he did, was still a name that people wanted to work with if he could be insured properly, if he could sign a longer contract. Like, I think now it makes more sense with maybe, I don't say this in a way that's like, I don't care about the characters, but smaller characters like a Kate Bishop or a Yelena Belova, you can kind of stick them together and make them both stronger at the same time.
It's more star power in one place.
Exactly. Absolutely. I don't remember what was Dreykov's scene after the Red Room was ruined. So this was one of my major critiques of the movie. It's not a huge thing. I'm okay with it. But Jack, you tell me, in the beginning of the movie, they have this whole dialogue, Yelena and Natasha do, did you check for the body? There's no body to check for, it exploded. That is the exact same way he dies at the end of the movie. And yes, he's in an exploding plane, falling to the ground. The likelihood that he survives is slim to none in a way that he probably could have from the explosion. However, I felt like that was like, for as much of a point they made about it in the beginning of the movie, I feel like that was a strange way to then have that character face his demise and now be confirmed dead, you know? Or do you think they're trying to play that off as like use him later? Because I don't think he'd make sense later.
Bishop dead. The difference between that and the beginning is you got to think in Budapest he may have had an idea that something was coming. So he was probably prepared. He was probably prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that his daughter was able to survive, okay, well then even more of a likelihood then that he was able to survive. Probably had an out, you know. Where at the end he is not expecting Yelena to get up on that chopper and make it blow up. He doesn't have an out there. He's up in the air in an exploding helicopter / plane, and he is so far up that you're not going to survive that fall. So it's like a death where it's like there's no out, there's no way of getting out unless he had a parachute, which he didn't. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I understand the argument. I don't, doesn't affect me because I'm just like, yeah, no, he's dead. There's no out. There's no way for him to get out. There's no way for him to be a slippery little snake. Where in Budapest, he, you know, for all we know, he could have had like a trap door under his chair or something, and it, you know, he was able to hop down into a tunnel to save himself. Like, you know, for all we know, we don't know. We don't have all the answers. We don't know how he survived. We don't know what happened, but you know, the unexpected nature of Yelena getting up and, you know, putting a staff into the propeller as they're flying off. He wasn't expecting that. There was no out. There was no way for him to escape that.
No, that's a really good point. That's actually a really good point. Marvel Studio Woe brings up the point, why would the Black Widows not fight for the entire universe? And my point here, Eternals, they're going to have to explain that a little bit more. But the Widows have been taken as children as young as 6 is what we're confirmed with Yelena. Role. Right. They have not chosen this. They did not voluntarily sign up for this. And they are not brainwashed in the same way of when Natasha was younger. They use different methods of like changing the way that you think to where you would have this Stockholm syndrome type feel of, I have a loyalty that Melina kind of demonstrates of, you have somewhat of a loyalty to these people who abused you, even though, you know, you're trying to break free. You could see where the sense of duty might be there. But these widows have been chemically altered or like used to fight for Dreykov. And now that they're free, they have no real sense of connection to this world. They never asked to be a part of this world. They want to make choices like get a dog or get a car or dress with a vest with pockets and stuff. And the only reason that Yelena is going to be the one that carries forward in being an Avenger or fighting for the good guys is because of her sister, who she wants to be like. That's the only thing she's known her entire life that she wanted to be like. That is the only personality trait that she was able to really like create when she was a kid before all of these things happened to her. So that's my argument. Jack, do you have anything to add to that?
No, yeah, it's not their role. They want to live regular lives. That's, you know, once they got out of the trance, yeah, they still have all the abilities that they had, but they have free will now. They can do whatever they want. So,
yeah, absolutely.
We also didn't know them in Endgame either, so it's like if they showed up, you'd be like, who are these people?
Right, why? They're not like the Dora Milaje who have a reason to fight.
They're not like all the sorcerers that show up with Wong.
Right, there's not...
So for continuity's sake, we'll be like, who are you?
They never even really knew Natasha, and that's what, like, that's kind of the point of the movie, is like she can set them free, and they may know Yelena, so maybe in Yelena's solo movie, if she ever gets one, maybe they show up there, but I don't think they necessarily have that sense of duty the way Yelena might. John Elite 45 says, correct me if I'm wrong, but Valentina was supposed to be debut in this movie and not Falcon and Winter Soldier. I believe the docket was initially pre-pandemic. Black Widow, May or June 2020. Falcon Winter Soldier, fall of 2020.
I mean, but it worked out fine because it's
Yeah.
just her pretty much introducing herself to, like, it just is fine. You know,
I mean, I
it
honestly
would have
think it
worked.
works
It would have worked either way.
potentially. Yeah, it
I
would
would
have
have
worked either
pretended with
way.
Black Widow first, honestly.
It would have been better with Black Widow first, you
Probably
think?
because it's all mysterious. Like, who is this lady?
Right. Why is she?
All you hear is like Valentine. She calls her Valentine. That's all you hear. And then in Falcon and Winter Soldier, we get more.
Yeah.
We get more.
Either
Background
way,
on what she's
because
doing.
of her association to John Walker in the show and her trying to pin Natasha's death or portray her death to be Clint's fault, I think either way we get the fact like she's a sketchy character. She's got very ulterior motives. So I think the flip-flop was fine. It just, we would have not got that introduction. Like you said, it would have just been like really only eagle-eyed people would have known because she doesn't give an introduction in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, but that was true. I mean, it was said in articles like she was supposed to make her debut in Black Widow. So that's how we knew that she was going to be there.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I was waiting. I'm like, okay, when is she going to show up?
Right. Alex said the part that he missed when the lights went out was Natasha and Elena fighting. So you kind of missed some of the stuff about Budapest and
kinda, but that stuff.
It's not a ton of super. If you caught, see, I think like the only thing they're explaining there is exactly how the powder works, kind of, which you kind of already get the point of like, okay, they're going to use the powder.
Like, the widows show up, and that's kind of
yeah.
You didn't really miss much.
You didn't miss too much. I don't think so. Absolutely not.
You missed some good combat between Elena and Natasha, but that's kind of the full of it.
Yeah. Ricardo said it's so weird to see Sasha on the left and Jack on the right. Yep.
Wow,
it's the first time we're doing it. For those of you who don't know why this is weird, I'm on Jack's channel all the time. You need to go subscribe to him, even if you only want to see me, but you should sub for him because his content is incredible. And sorry, did you say something, Jack?
I said, give me the 750. We're almost there.
Yes, get the man there. Get the man there. Come on, guys. I know we can do it. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up to these. Why is this dinging so many times?
Popular gal.
I guess so. Okay. StreamYard is weird. It like pushes everything down and then.
Oh, you have found the dilemma that I'm always in. Oh, I've lost my spot.
It is. You said last week you were like, I'm so excited not to be the host.
It's weird. I usually am the host of everything, so it's cool.
Usually.
I'm chilling.
Jamie says, I'm starting to think that some of the leaks are behind the scene photos are pre-approved or even directed. Jack, do you have any thoughts on this? Because I definitely have some.
I don't think that that's accurate because I definitely don't think that they would have leaked the Spider-Man toys. Definitely don't think that would have been a thing because then they had to release the photos like officially because they leaked them. Thankfully, it wasn't anything too drastic that they like had to drop the trailer. I want the trailer to come. Like I want to see the trailer, but I want it to come when it's supposed to come. I don't want to rush anything. But no, I don't like, as someone that studied journalism and shit like that, if you can get it and you can show it. I don't think like journalists and news stations and stuff, they don't listen to those people unless they're going to like sue them, which newsrooms and newspapers get sued all the time. Like, I don't think that that's a thing. Now, people may be like invited to set. Like I know set visits are a thing.
Yeah.
People they say, oh, hey, if you're here, like you can take pictures at like this time. Like maybe that's a thing. Like that's a thing, but I don't, if there's like people getting like if they're on the streets of New York and people are taking photos of a film of a scene being like that's fair use. It's captured. There's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to a certain extent, why not it would make them from a PR standpoint seem more generous if they're just like, here's the really high quality version and we gave it out to the public because we want you to know what we're working on. Because I can't think of anything that's been super leaked, like other than the Spider-Man toys, which I agree with you. I don't think those are really a leak.
Just like set photos. I mean, we've seen some Miss Marvel set photos, but like really, what have we seen? We've seen her in her suit, which is cool, but that's kind of it. Hawkeye, we've seen some suit photos of Jeremy Renner and Kate Bishop. We've seen some like action photos, but we really haven't seen anything of substance. So
right.
I don't think it really matters in the grand scheme, honestly.
Yeah.
We've seen like some Thor Love and Thunder like oh, the actors are in Australia or wherever they are. That's kind of it. We really haven't seen. Saw Thor in his suit. It's kind of it. We haven't really seen anything else.
Yeah, I definitely think it's
Bandits and stuff. It's not anything serious.
yeah. I don't think it's like, especially like the Miss Marvel ones, like it really does kind of feel like it not that it's pre-approved and it's like this leak will happen this day, but like saying to them like, okay, like let's generate some like fan images of like, oh, they're filming here or whatever else. Like that to me doesn't seem too weird. If there's anything that they like I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that they would generate leaks when they can, like Jack said, invite fans on or just
like I know Brandon Davis just posted his photos that he got to go to set of Black Widow. Obviously you're not going to take photos when they're shooting stuff, but that's a different thing. That's not journalists out on the streets taking photos. That's people, that's critics and personalities that were invited there by the studio to take, to see certain things. Very different things.
Yeah. Did you like the warped mirror or like the parallel of Natasha's mother buried in a grave with no name, but Natasha's grave having no body in it? I didn't even think about that.
That's deep.
That is deep. That's deep.
Is that pre-planned or was that just coincidence? Maybe not, but it was
maybe
deep.
There's stuff like that it's like it's almost sometimes it's more sometimes I don't know, like
to be real.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like the Pixar theory. Have you heard of that, Jack?
Oh yeah.
Like it's almost like
I think that's cool.
I think it's fun because I like the fan work that goes into it, but to me it's kind of like, do I really think they're like actively doing that, or is it just like there's enough of a coincidence and like self-referencing that it just seems that way?
Like I know the people that originated the Pixar theory, the Super Carlin brothers, like they've talked about it, and it's like it's something they came up with, and it's like every time a new Pixar movie comes out, they struggle with trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to fit this movie in? Like how is this going to work? And like when Onward came out, they were talking about how Onward was like the most movie to fit into the theory so far, because it's like this is a complete left turn from anything we've done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's I don't think it's like something Pixar's done completely. I think it's definitely something that's originated from like fans and people that like do that stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me if Pixar's caught on and are like, oh yeah, we'll do some subtle nods or something like that.
Yeah.
The studios like to do that, and it's especially like the studios owned by Disney are really great about fan service and things like that.
That's a really good point. No, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, they're all, even just Disney itself, animation, it's really great about Easter eggs and just throwing things in there for fans.
They like to make the fans happy, which is, I don't know why every studio doesn't do that. It's like literally the fans are the ones that pay the money for the tickets. Throw them a bone,
Exactly. They're the one that pays for your service. They're the one that's gonna, in the case of Disney, I think they probably started it because it's like, you need to make it memorable enough for the person that when they then go on and have a family and have kids, that they like pass that along.
Watch this.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I feel like more people should do it.
They didn't have to do that, but they did because they knew that a fan like me, as I think 20-year-old at the time, grown-ass man, would jump my happy ass out of my seat when that happened. Which absolutely. I did. Like they knew. So, it's little things like that, callbacks to Age of Ultron 5 years before. It's they're good at that. I don't know why
they really are.
Take notes. DC.
Seriously. I feel like because DC could really benefit from fan service and Easter eggs in that sense. I mean, like the entire Snyder cut, like why did that not come sooner?
DC could just be better at, I know that they don't want to like emulate, but you got to emulate. What Marvel's doing is working.
Well, even emulate in the sense of like do the opposite then.
And Warner Brothers, get out of their like, and even to the vein of Warner Brothers, like Warner Brothers, get out of their grill. Let the creators have the creative freedom. That's what Feige does. That's what Marvel does. They give them not full creative freedom. It's got to stay with the continuity of the MCU, but they give them as much creative freedom as they can. Where, the whole reason the Snyder Cut is a thing is because they brought in Joss Whedon and they completely changed the movie. And it was a lot of it wasn't even Joss Whedon. It was the executives of Warner Bros. Like, no, we need to change this. And they have a track record of doing that. David Ayer and Suicide Squad, to be particular. Warner Brothers, what are you doing? Take notes. Like, you've had some good movies lately. I won't lie. Birds of Prey was great. Loved Birds of Prey. The Suicide Squad looks fantastic. Like, and the Batman's going to be incredible. Like, yeah, you've got a few good ones, but we're running a marathon, which is like 26 point something miles. You are at mile 1. Marvel's already crossing the finish line. You're nowhere near them. Even with these projects that are coming out in the next few years, you're not even close. So you got to figure it out. I don't think it's that hard. Like, hire me. I don't think it's that hard to figure it out. Like, I don't think it's that hard.
Yeah, I think you make a great point with Warner Brothers. Really does just have too tight of a grip on their creatives and not letting them breathe. And obviously, I know Zack Snyder had to step away for several reasons beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's just where
when you give him creative freedom. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Like, Army of the Dead was a lot of fun. I didn't give it the highest score. I think it's very long. I think it's very clunky, but it's fun. You let Snyder Netflix let Snyder have basically full creative control. It's like, he is a great filmmaker. And he tells very personal stories, especially to him. Like the Army of the Dead, the whole backbone of that is a father-daughter relationship. Like, you let the man work. He's got a proven track record of making good stuff. Let the man work. Hashtag hire Jack, WB. Let's get that on Twitter.
Hire Jack and then let Zack Snyder do his thing. I don't think that seems like a simple recipe to success.
Yeah, just hire me and then I'll just say, Zach, come back and do whatever you want.
You have all the money, all the creative freedom.
Obviously,
go for it.
Working under me that figure out the budget and stuff, but I'd be like, yeah, you can do whatever you want.
You can just be the nice guy. When you have the ideas, you can just be the nice guy.
That sound like a good idea? Sounds like a good idea. On the road to billions of dollars.
Exactly. Absolutely. Tula says, hey, Sasha, I don't like Black Widow. Bummer. But I'm wondering if you could do a small recap on the new episode of High School Musical series. Tula, I uploaded my review yesterday. So that's up. I don't want to take time away because I know Jack doesn't watch High School Musical the series.
I'll get a prop real quick.
I think I am hoping to do the stream tomorrow or Monday. I'm in the middle of a move right now. So I can't guarantee, at some point, some of this stuff's going to get packed up and I just got to go. So be on the lookout for it. I know you're subscribed, Tula, so just look for it. But go watch the review in the meantime. I think I did a pretty decent job. I liked last week's episode or this week's episode. So you can go check that out. Because I just don't know when I'm going to do the live stream. It will come, I promise. Just might be a little later than usually. Guys, support Jack's MCU. Yes. Thank you, Alex. Jack, for those of you who don't know, he's gone now, so I'm gonna brag about him. He has been doing so much great MCU content. Go watch his Black Widow review too, because I think he sums up so much in a way that he wasn't even mentioning spoilers at that point because he got a screener for it. Oh, and we have the tin. We have the tin, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I bought the tin. I did it. I bought it for the $6. Didn't get the popcorn. Bought the tin. I did it. I did the tin.
Wow.
I'm gonna buy the F9 one when I go back next week.
There you go.
They still have them.
I've seen some people with them. So, I mean, obviously.
I just don't know if they've it's Black Widow time. No more F9 tins.
Right, just chucked them. You could go dumpster diving at that point. I'm not endorsing that, but.
Yeah, it's at a mall, though. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Maybe you'd find more stuff, though, in a mall dumpster.
You know what? Don't tempt me. Maybe.
Okay, Reagan is heading out. Reagan, have a great time at your grandma's birthday dinner. Catch the replay when you've watched it, please. Don't spoil it for yourself.
Gassing me up.
Oh, sorry. I did it while you were gone. Go subscribe to Jack. No, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now, though.
Yeah, I could hear that. I could hear out of my headphone, and I'm like, oh, she gassing me. I'm joking.
I am. Guys,
Sasha deserves all the love, not me.
If you guys are not subbed to Jack, go do it now, please. Please, 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 please.
But actually sub to Sasha, though, because she deserves the love.
Thank you, but I feel like most of you might be already. I recognize everyone's names in here so far. But go support Jack. Please get the man up there in his sub count. Get him to 750. Come on. Do it,
15
please.
away.
Just do it. Just do it.
Oh, 14 away.
There you go. Thank you. Someone's listening. Ricardo says, isn't Nathaniel's middle name Pietro? He is.
Yeah,
his name is
daughter's name Natasha.
No. So his name is Nathaniel Pietro because the older two, I think, are born like before he knows who she is. There's Violet is the daughter, I think. And the son's name is
So the baby they were having is a boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The baby that she's pregnant with in Age of Ultron is a boy.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Yep.
Maybe don't sub to me. I don't know anything about the MCU.
Why? Did you give a theory or something?
No, I botched that. I thought it was a girl.
Nope. It's still a reference to Natasha, though.
The more you know.
It is. There you go. Some people are talking about when Hawkeye finished filming in comparison. I feel like Miss Marvel will need
been done, but I will just say Miss Marvel, someone said that it like just started a month ago. That is very false.
Yeah.
Because at the Investor Day in December, we got our first look at footage from Miss Marvel. So no way it just started last month because we would not have had footage in December. But I think Miss Marvel might still be filming. I don't know if it's wrapped or not. I know Hawkeye's done, I think.
I think Miss Marvel might be close to wrapping filming, but I feel like it's going to be a lot more post-production than...
Hawkeye is bow and arrow. Miss Marvel is very long, stretchy arms. That's called CGI.
I bet, if I had to make a bet, I'd say we'd get Hawkeye in October, like you said, and then Miss Marvel and come January.
Sprinkle Miss Marvel in because Eternals is the 5th of November, so you could start Miss Marvel week after, and then I think Spider-Man's like second week of December, so you literally it's that 6 week. I'm assuming it's 6 episodes. It's just kind of what they're doing. So you literally lines up perfectly. No, you'd have a week, but that's what happened with Black Widow. You'd have a week, and then you get the finale the week after, and then you take a little hiatus for a few weeks, and then start up in January again. That's what I would do. # hire Jack Disney.
Hire Jack. Everyone, he loves his job at Chat Sports, but he's willing to freelance.
I don't want to say that. Yeah. I'm not. If anyone from Chat Sports is watching, I love you guys.
He's just. This is a hobby. He has so much talent that he can be fully employed at Chat Sports, do his YouTube, and be a contributor to some of these studios to get them on track.
Yeah, I could be a consultant on the weekend.
Exactly.
In the middle of my own content, which I'm barely able to do anyway.
Ricardo asks, will we see Clint after Hawkeye, or is that going to be his goodbye? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we will. I don't think I've seen a Hawkeye. Maybe not for much longer, but I have not heard anything about this being a swan song. Like when Black Widow came out, well, obviously because Natasha died, but like we knew that she was done. And like at the end of Endgame, we knew that Evans and Downey were done. Like they weren't coming back for any cameos. They weren't coming. Like we knew they were done. Haven't heard anything about that about Jeremy Renner. I think Jeremy Renner loves it. I don't think that he wants to leave. I don't think that that's the last film. I think that this is the beginning for Kate Bishop. I think Hawkeye, still part of the Avengers. Now, I don't know. I don't think we're going to get another Avenger movie until like phase 5. So that's probably years away. So he may be gone by then. But no, I don't think that he's done yet.
I don't think so. And I think he's not a character to me where, and I love him. So don't take this the wrong way, anyone watching, but he's not a character to me where his story needs to end with a sacrifice or death.
Yeah.
There's not really a reason for that.
Oh, I'd be hella pissed if
right. So I think there's a perfect opportunity for him to be kind of in the show or pop kind of in and out of the show. But for those who are unfamiliar with the specific specific comic line that I'm talking about, which let me Google who the writers are so I can specifically say it to you guys. But in that, it's where Pizza Dog is introduced. Clint is partially deaf. He suffers a hearing issue and has a hearing aid. So a lot of the comic it has different like sign language in the comic, which is really cool. which I think they said they might explore, or I think there was maybe a shot where you saw Jeremy Renner wearing some form of like hearing aid or something like that for the character. But in that, the Clint and Kate kind of have this like not on and off romantic relationship, but like he's her mentor, and then sometimes she takes like things into her own hands, but he's still Hawkeye, and they're dealing with kind of more ground level stuff in New York City, which is like what it seems to be. The show will be very similar.
Exactly what it is, yeah.
So, it's the Hawkeye series by Matt Fraction and David Aja. So it's, let's see. Oh, should we try to share the screen, Jack? Your favorite feature?
I mean, if you're up, if you think
Let's
you
try
got
it.
if you think you're up to the task. Oh,
there we go. Bingo. All right. So
boom,
this is
shakalaka.
the comic line.
That look familiar.
Yep. Look at the logo.
Exactly like what we've seen. Doesn't that look familiar? Oh my god, yeah. Doesn't that look familiar, y'all?
Exactly. So there's Clint and Kate and Pizza Dog.
You guys want
or Lucky.
You guys want to pull right out of the comics. People are always like, why aren't they doing it based off the comics? Let's talk about like right out of the comics, guys.
Straight out. I think that's something that I haven't seen in. I feel like they're doing it more now when people have given up the fight of like, because I think now they're like, we've created our own universe, but let's like, when we're introducing new people, pull from the comics a little bit more. Have you noticed that? I feel like they're doing it more now, or at least making reference.
It all goes back to the whole we can do whatever we want now because we don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Yeah. No, you're right. Absolutely right.
10 out of 10 what it is.
Absolutely right. Okay. They explicitly showed Dreykov's eyeglasses blown off his head. That was proof enough for me. I think I'm not making an argument that he's I'm not making an argument that he's alive. I just thought it was an interesting parallel to the beginning of the movie.
No, yeah.
I feel so bad for Snyder since company like Warner Bros. Don't let him have freedom and control over his films. I think that's why he's shifting more to the Netflix.
Some control is good. I don't want to say like all control is bad. I think some control is good because like in the grand scheme of the business of filmmaking, you kind of do because like you can't give people unlimited amounts of money. You got to keep things under budget. You got to keep things on schedule. Like I took a whole class on this in college. It's a whole thing. There are like parts of control that are necessary. The parts that I don't like are the meddling in the story itself, which is what Warner Brothers does. They meddle in the story. They cut it down because like with the Justice League, they were like, this needs to be like 2 hours or less. It can't be longer than that, which is a mistake. Most MCU movies are over 2 hours. Black Widow, a solo movie on a Core 6 Avenger is 225. And people still love it. And it's still probably going to gross almost $1 billion, I would say, worldwide. So that's where it's a problem. The problem is when they are directly interfering with the story itself and the filmmaking process of the story. I get budgetary, I get schedule, like I get all of that. But like when there is a clear cut, because like the Snyder Cut was real, obviously we got it. The Snyder Cut was real. It was there and it happened. That's a problem. Like there's a problem there when a studio goes in and is like, nah, we got to change all this. Why'd you hire him in the first place if you didn't want him to do what he wanted to do? Like that's the issue.
Exactly. There's a difference.
Some control.
There's a difference between a little bit of corporate oversight in something and is needed. Star Wars. That is a lot. It's helpful. It makes something feel more cohesive, or you make sure certain things are included, or things are happening the way you want them to be. Because obviously, like Jack said, if you're giving someone money to make a movie, you need to get a certain amount in return. You don't want to say, oh, Zack Snyder, go make us a Justice League movie, and he comes back with a rom-com. Like, that's not what you want. But you are hiring someone at that point to have a lot of creative control. That's inherent in those kind of contracts. So then to like pull the rope tighter and pinch up the money and say like, no, never mind, we don't want this anymore. That just, it's directly cutting up one person's creative vision because you didn't like it. Then why did you hire them in the first place? You said it perfectly, Jack. You said it perfectly.
Yeah, I think another thing that people don't always understand is that you see, like, if you look up like, oh, what was the budget on a movie? That's not what you have to make back. you have to make back substantially more, because that's not all you're paying for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're also paying for distribution. You're paying for advertising. You're paying for all of that stuff. You're paying for all of it. You're paying to produce the merchandise. You're paying to like that. That's all stuff that isn't included in the budget that you see like on Wikipedia or somewhere like that. It's not included. So you have to make back substantially more than what the actual budget is, because you're paying substantially more than the budget says. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of why.
Our bro Trevor is here. Trevor, how are you? Trevor from Film Geeks, what is up?
Guy, just start an Instagram.
He said that
follow
tin
her.
bucket is damn good looking, Jack. A little tin bucket ASMR for the people, Jack. There you go. There you go. It's great. It's fantastic. I used to get a lot of the plastic tins. I didn't know that they did. Like, have they shifted to doing the steel ones?
All the ones I have are like this.
Because I remember back in the day, well, actually, I could be incorrect. I got a lot of the like slushy cups, because I'm definitely like a slushy person when I go. If I'm going to indulge at the movie theater and get like popcorn and a drink, I'm going to get a slushy. Like, it's not just going to be a Coke or something. And so I would get like the collectible cups, but those were all plastic. So maybe the tins have always been
slushy gal, eh?
For sure. And it's always a Coke slushy. I don't even like Coke, but I like Coke slushies. Can't explain it. Can't explain it. Oh, there we go. That sounded like a Coke or a Mountain Dew or something. It's a Coke. There you go. That's just a little product placement that Jack just threw in here, guys.
You guys can't see it, but I just pushed the label out. Which is
no free advertising here.
I was watching one of Bo Burnham's specials. I watched all of them with my mom because my parents were just here this past few days.
Mm-hmm.
And he does, I don't know if you guys have seen the country song that he does, where it's like parodying country music. You guys gotta look it up. It's like the funniest thing. But one of the lines is like a Bud Light with the logo facing out. It's so, because like all these country singers have like product placement. It's so,
yeah.
He is a genius.
I still have not watched. You're gonna be disappointed in me. I still have not watched Inside.
We haven't watched The Town either, so
I know. My Town Blu-ray is at home. I did not bring it up here. Listen, there's a lot I need to get to. But Jack, you have at least one new subscriber from K Jamie.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And then Marvel Studio says, I've seen Jack jump 3 subs since the beginning of the stream. Let's keep him going.
Last few days.
Why not jump in more, guys? I'm just saying.
Jump more. Jump on me. That's weird. Jump it.
Boost his numbers.
MCU
make the numbers go crazy.
Just hit 200 views. So
hey, there we go.
Cool beans. Now, you know what we need to jump is my Loki episode 5 spoiler review. 26 views, guys. What the hell are we doing here? Sasha's in that video. You guys are doing her a damn shame. 26 views in 2 days. The hell is that?
Go give it a click.
It's not all about the views, but what the heck?
But what the heck, guys? What are you doing?
But the views are important.
K Jamie asks, do either of you have a guess as to why they scheduled Loki so it would end a week after Widow drops? They schedule all this so carefully. Black Widow was supposed to drop in May when no MCU content.
Scrambling.
I think Black Widow was supposed to come out in that gap between Falcon Winter Soldier and Loki.
Black Widow was supposed to come out 15 different times.
Well, that is true. That is true.
So they were just scrambling to find a time that worked. Like they picked a weekend when no other big movie came out. And that's like, this was like the only weekend for like the rest of the summer where a big, like there's 3 big movies coming out next week. So like, just wasn't going to work. And then you had to do it in a long enough period of time before Shang-Chi. So then you could build up Shang-Chi, which comes out in September. Yes. Early September. You had to build that up. But in that period of time, like you've got like next week is Space Jam and the week after that is something else. And like, there's just all these other big movies coming out. This is like, they picked the perfect time because it's like nothing else came out this weekend. It was just Black Widow.
Yeah.
And it's great because then you ride that momentum. You get the first MCU movie back, and the next week's the finale of Loki. So like you ride that momentum.
And then at that point, that's when I guess that we'll get trailers for
Spider-Man
Spider-Man specifically.
I think I know.
You think?
I think I know. I've already written it down in my notebook saying this is the day. I think I know. But what are sources these days? So
True, that is true. Can't trust anyone out here.
Everything that I've been told can be utter and complete BS, but I think I know. I thought I knew last time and I didn't, but I think I know.
If you at least have a date that you know it's going to come out, I'm hoping that you're correct.
I'm pretty
so that
sure.
We know it's coming.
I'd say 50%. 45.
45.
I have
50.
trustworthy sources, but they could have been given BS, so I don't know.
That's true.
But you know what? It's better than 0%.
Exactly. And we know it's coming. It has to come soon.
Yeah, it's inevitable now. People were saying like last month, oh, it's but now we're like getting to the point where it's like, okay, like it's time, like it's inevitable.
Well, I think we've become as the MCU as a fandom, which I would argue, and I'm sure you would too, Jack, that there are multiple facets to the MCU fandom. Like it's not just one thing. Like I'm not saying it ever was one thing, but I feel like when the first Avengers film, and I just know it because I was on Tumblr and that's where I was, and I was like, oh, there's like everyone in the Marvel community there would post similar things or have similar takes and stuff. Whereas now I feel like there's the really like stan people. There's people. I mean, it changes even app to app. What kind of?
Yeah, don't even get me started. Talkers and the tweeters.
There you go. His famous line, people, talkers and tweeters.
Go follow Alex, me on TikTok though. I'm one of
go follow him. He's doing it, and I think his short reviews are really good.
I'm starting a new series on TikTok. Don't ask. I'm starting a new series on TikTok, and I think I did the first one. I recorded the first one today, so
go follow Have you thought about transferring them to YouTube Shorts? Have you done anything with that, Jack?
Oh, yeah, I've not yet.
I've tried to start that.
I just think that it's over cluttering someone's sub feed. That's literally, I think the best form is just transfer them to Instagram Reels and just let it be. I think if you don't have a big enough audience, I just don't think my personal thing and like what I've learned from work and how YouTube works is if you don't have a big enough audience, which I don't, Sasha, you do. I think it would probably work better for you than it would for me. One, you're filling up someone's sub feed, which I hate when my sub feed gets filled up with random crap I don't want to watch. And two, if you don't have a big enough audience, you're posting the short, but it's not going to get pushed to anyone else. So I think it's better off for smaller creators on TikTok and Instagram because that has the potential of getting pushed to other people, which then refers them to the channel. So then it's like on TikTok, I always say at the end of them, like go like on my smart videos, I'm like, go check out my full review. The link's in the bio. You click on like the YouTube thing in the bio and it takes you straight to my channel. Like I do the shorts on my Instagram and I say it's the same. I just take the TikTok and so it says the same thing. You go into my bio, you got the link to my newest video. So I've talked to a few people at work and they're like, oh yeah, maybe try shorts and stuff. But I'm just like, I don't know, for like with Chat Sports, we got a big enough audience that it works. Almost 250,000 subscribers, which go subscribe if you haven't already. But I don't know. For you, it might work. You have a bigger audience.
It's interesting you say that because I feel like I've done it as more of an experiment of just like, okay, what is this? Because I think there's some really creative things. I mean, since Vine, I think it's proven that you can do really creative stuff in a very short time span. But I feel like 15 seconds is too short for any sort of movie content, unless you're literally just going to be like, go watch this movie.
Is that the, or no, it's up to a minute though.
It's right? 15 to 16 seconds, but it's kind of like, you want it to be under 60, but I feel like you either have like 15.
We started experimenting with them at Chat Sports, but I haven't been doing a lot of that. So I just kind of listen to the conversations.
I don't really think like you said, I think it works for I feel like I would even say like I'm too small for it to really do anything, because I was just curious. I was like, okay, I'll cut up like a couple of my reviews, but I just don't like filming in that format for
Yeah.
something like YouTube to make it feel natural to
It
the other
feels
kind of,
weird.
yeah, to feel like I'm doing something similar to the other content that I do.
Mhm.
It doesn't really work. And I don't think, like you said, like I like doing it in the sense of like being creative with it or testing the algorithm, but I don't really think it does much.
Yeah. It's still a thing that's evolving and changing, at least from what I've heard. They're not even fully like in there, like it's still like they're testing it. Like YouTube is still testing it as well. So I think it's kind of a thing. They're trying to be like TikTok, even though they already have their own platform that does its own thing. So I don't really understand that, because there's no
Hmm.
real other site that matches YouTube at all. It was the second biggest, most traffic last year behind Google itself. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I just for smaller channels, I don't really think it's worth it. I think what's more worth it is doing TikTok and Instagram, because then that drives people to your channel more.
Hmm.
I think you get more people being pushed to your channel through those outside third party apps than you do the shorts if you're a smaller channel.
Well, I always
Personally.
think of, yeah, I always think of YouTube as kind of like the way I like view a streaming service of like I know when I log into Disney Plus or HBO Max that there's like my watch list of people, which is kind of like I'd say parallel to like
You'll subscribe
my
to. Mhm.
subscriptions. And then if I'm through those and I want more, I'll go on Netflix and be like, I add a bunch of stuff to my watch list. On
Yep.
YouTube, I'll just be like, okay, I'll subscribe to a couple people, new people, see what's going on, like watch some of their content. But
Mhm.
like, I don't, it's not a, on Instagram, I want just like a 5 second laugh, or I'm like, I have 5 minutes, like I want to scroll
Mhm.
through, or TikTok is the same way, where it's more like if you see something really cool or whatever, it really is more of a discovery. Those are more discovery platforms, whereas YouTube is
Mhm.
without being like TV shows or a streaming service. It's more of a commitment level to subscribe to someone.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing that we that I've that we've I've heard a lot about is that YouTube YouTube prioritizes shorts that are watched all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So like what we've been doing at Chat Sports, like we've been trying to do really short shorts, like 15. We try to push like 15 to 20 seconds, because it's like, okay, so then they'll watch the entire thing. YouTube's not really picking up, like if it's like people are watching 50% of it, people are watching 75% of it. I think like 90 is like the cutoff. Like if people aren't watching, like if like the average isn't like 90%, YouTube's just not going to push it anywhere. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not going to happen. They're not going to recommend it to anybody. So it's like, is it really worth it if like you're not even going to get to 90% audience retention on it, even if it's a 15-second video? Um, so it's just kind of like, is it worth it? And I just don't think it is, because it's a whole, because then you got to do everything you do with a regular video. You got to do thumbnail, tag, description,
Mm-hmm.
title. Like on TikTok, you film the video, and yeah, it takes a little bit of time depending on what you're doing. Like the new series that I'm doing, it took me a little bit of time because I was doing multiple clips, but then it's like you just do, like it's like an Instagram. You just do like a little description, and then you can save it to your drafts, which is what I do with all my TikToks, and then you can post it, and that's it. It's nothing
Yeah.
else. Like that's it. It's easy. YouTube is still a bit of a process, like it would be like for a regular video. It makes sense because it's a longer video. You got to make sure you got everything in there. But like for a short, it's like, do I really want to do all of that? Which you have to, because it's important. But again, if you're not going to hit 90% retention, then what's the point?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's definitely, and that's actually interesting you bring that up, because the first time I did a short, it was, unfortunately it fell the same day that they did the huge like subscriber purge that they were doing on YouTube. And what was crazy was I was doing all this research, and apparently I didn't know that, and that is probably what this guy is alluding to, or they've changed it to now be like they're not going to promote it. But there was a, initially when they put out the program of shorts, or like were beta testing it, they were like, oh, if you don't watch more than like, I think it was 30 seconds of the video, it counts as like not even just like not a view or something, but it counts as like a spam, like a bot or
Mhm.
something. And so for some reason that wasn't applying to normal videos, but it was applying to shorts, which like some of them are literally 15 seconds. So no, you can't watch for 30
Yeah.
seconds. And so like at that point it was like, well, why do I don't know. I don't think it's been very well thought through. I think in social media platforms nowadays, all of them want to have all the same features or somewhat comparable, and then one of them is going to end up having the best of those features or overtake the other ones. Like I used to love Snapchat stories, right? Never use it anymore. Like I Snapchat my friends, but I don't do that anymore because like
step foot on that app anymore.
Instagram has outdone it, and then I don't use TikTok because TikTok is in Instagram now. So like, what's the point in having separate apps when you can combine them? But on YouTube, I never really find myself wanting to scroll through shorts, you know?
Yeah. The only problem with like just doing it in one app is that there are different audiences.
Mm-hmm.
So like my sister, for example, she loves TikTok. She will watch TikTok all the time, and she watches MCU TikTok, movie TikTok. Like she'll watch that stuff. I've never heard of her looking at Instagram Reels ever. You know, where like there is another subsect of people that is like, oh yeah, Instagram Reels, that's the ish. I'm not on TikTok. Like it's tough because you got like that's why I do it on both, because it's like two different audiences trying to maximize the output, trying to get as many people over to my chat. Like that's the only reason why I'm like I talk so much crap about the TikTok and Twitter, which I love Twitter, but I talk a bunch of crap about TikTok and the TikTokers. The only reason why I'm on TikTok is to drive more audience to my channel. That's the only reason.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like, what are you willing to do and what for you is worth it? That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And
they
thank
all
you guys
offer
for listening to us talk about YouTube for a hot minute.
Yes. Let's get back to some Marvel stuff. Okay. There was one
we have in our free time about YouTube.
We really do, though. We really do. Alex says Vera Farmiga, who is the woman, she is going to be in Hawkeye.
Oh, F yeah, give it to me.
So I don't know if it's Clint's sister, but I thought she was supposed to be playing like the bad guy. I don't know if the bad guy has like a specific name.
Eleanor Bishop. Do we know who Eleanor Bishop is?
Oh, well, I'm assuming then that is his sister because Bishop is his last name. So I guess Alex is right. I was mistaken.
Credited as an Eleanor Bishop on IMDb. Let's do it.
There you go. Clint, it's in the family now.
Post-production. Let's see where
check where Miss Marvel is. Ricardo says, could you imagine a Snyder rom-com?
Sure. Where are we, Miss Marvel? I don't see it. There's a still on the first episode. It's just a picture of the actress, but whatever. Let me carry on. I will figure this out.
Okay. K. Jamie mentions, no, I get your point about Dreykov, and in fact, I'm sure Ryan George's pitch meeting for this film will bring up the fact that you can't verify his body. Yeah, I think these are things where, like, in my mind, does it make sense to bring Dreykov back now? To me, the very specific, like,
that was for Natasha.
I think there's a way, if they really want to use Taskmaster in the future, to say like
that ish.
Yeah, the tech is stolen, or Ross sees the helicopter take off and sees the suit, pursues them, and at that point, Dreykov's daughter is like, "Screw this! I don't want it. Like, get rid of it. It only symbolizes pain and suffering for me." And there's a way to like weave it back in the story. So that's all I meant with that. I just thought it was kind of funny, honestly, that they were just like blew him up at first, and then the other sister blows him up. But Jack makes it a really good point of like, there's no escape at that point. There's no prediction that would happen.
He's not expecting that.
Right, and there's no other protection from, like, he's with all the remaining cronies that he has, like, in that helicopter.
They're all getting blown up too. Yeah, Miss Marvel's currently in post-production, but I'm almost positive Hawkeye wrapped first. And it's not going to take as long to edit Hawkeye as it's going to take to edit Miss Marvel. And they're currently filming the Marvels. Cool.
Like I said, that makes sense if they would just do those back to back.
Yeah.
Especially with the younger...
Brie Larson, I've seen Brie Larson training and stuff.
Well, there you go. Cool. I'm excited for that one. That's one I never had on my radar before. Like, I like Captain Marvel decently enough, but, you know, a sequel, I was like, whatever.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
The theory that they changed the name because people hate Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. Do we believe that theory?
No, I think it makes more sense to say for people who are new to it at that point, because it'll be combining film and television to just be like they're
It's
the
like a bunch of
Marvels.
them. It's not one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't
I
she
don't
supposed to? Didn't? Oh, here we go. Wasn't Brie Larson like? Isn't she gonna be in Miss Marvel? Like, isn't she like kind of have a cameo or something?
I think she's supposed to. I mean, like, and now this is where I don't know if it'll be something like, oh, they say it's a cameo, but it's really just like, oh, Kamala Khan's watching like,
TV.
yeah, and she sees her because in like, I don't know if you
Post
ever
credits.
played
Post
the
credits.
Marvel's Avengers video game, but
Yeah.
like she's just a huge fan of all of them, and that's like her storyline. So like I could see that more so being like, oh, I love Captain Marvel so much, and that being like it's new footage of Brie Larson, but it's not necessarily her interacting until maybe the post credits.
Just do a post credit scene, ever show me like, yo, I need you.
Yeah.
See, this is so Marvel does a lot right. They do a lot right. There's one flaw I have with them. You got to utilize the post credit scenes a little bit better. Black Widow was done right. Completely. You're setting up something else. Post credit scenes are made to set up other things. We don't need to see Wanda hovering with a book. I know the significance, but if Doctor Strange would have showed up, we would still be talking about that post credit scene. We ain't talking about it now. The only reason we started talking about it again was because there was an editing glitch and people thought that it was Doctor Strange in the astral plane going to see her. It's the only reason why we were talking about it. We're not talking about it anymore. We will be talking about the Black Widow post-credit scene until Hawkeye. I know what they're trying to do, but like, why did the first post-credit scene in the first Iron Man work so well? Because it was setting up the Avengers. Like, set stuff up.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel's post-credit scene was one of the best because it set up Endgame, and that's why I saw that movie 4 times in theaters. Can't believe I can say that.
I totally agree. I mean, I think with the WandaVision one, the only thing I can appreciate that one for, but the argument is still there of like, why was this necessary? I see her like the point where she hears her kids somewhere else in like the different dimensions, but
that's the driving force to get her to Doctor Strange. I get it.
Right, but I would still argue that would still be there if we didn't get that post-credit scene. Like you're saying, like she still like she loved that those were her children. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. She's gonna try to figure out a way to get them back. So like other than the confirmation of they're out there now, like I don't think it really changes much. You know, like
she's practicing dark magic. That's what we learned, but we knew she was gonna go do that anyways.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I got a lot of gripes with WandaVision. A lot.
I know you do. I know you do.
Still rated it really high in my ranking, though.
I was surprised about that, but I think you made a really good point of saying, like, it's more and this is how I feel about, like, for example, we're talking about Marvel, Captain Marvel. I really like Captain Marvel, the movie. I think it is a great, like, 90s period piece. I like the introduction of the Skrulls, young Fury, young Coulson. I love that. I think it's great. I think she as a character is so great in that film, like in her solo environment. I think there was the mess up of having her film Endgame, not really being sure what the character was at that point before she's in her solo movie, because she just comes across like a jerk in Endgame. But she does. She does. But my problem,
that,
you don't?
Not completely, because she's just seen more. She's just very matter of fact. Like the Avengers they've only been doing this for a bit. You know, they've only been doing it for, I think, less than a decade, if we're like looking at time, maybe a little bit longer than that. But like, she's been doing it since like the 90s, like early 90s. And even before that, she was fighting for the Kree. So like, she's been through some ish. I think she was more just very matter of fact. Because like Rhodey comes out like, where the hell were you all this time? And she's like, she has to defend herself. It's like, you know, she's like, there are other planets that are dealing with stuff too, bruh. Like Earth ain't the be all end all. So like, I don't completely agree with that. I think that she just was who she was. Very battle worn and has seen more than they have. She's been like when they go to find Thanos in Endgame, that was Steve and Natasha's first time in space. Like you see Steve's eye, like they literally do the close-up, which is a beautiful shot of his eyes, like, oh my, like what the, like, you know, just in amazement. Like that's where she goes from planet to planet. Like she's seen stuff. So I'm not disputing you. I'm more disputing the people that are hating on her, because I know you're not hating on her. I'm disputing people that are hating on her because I don't understand the backlash to Brie Larson. That doesn't make any sense. But she's just being more matter of fact. She's like, I'm gonna go kill Thanos. You know, and just matter of fact. She's like, there are other planets out there that need help, not just Earth, which is true.
You know what it's kind of like, Jack, because we've talked about this before. It's kind of like in Captain Marvel, you see things from Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers' perspective. You see the fact that the whole world is suffering. She's been through all this stuff. She's ridiculously overpowered, and I don't mean that in a way to say like, oh, she shouldn't have those powers. I just mean like she is easily like the most powerful of all of them. With the exception of potentially WandaVision with multiverse stuff. Like, I'm not trying to make that argument. I'm just saying, like, she's up there, top tier.
I think her and Wanda could go face to face.
Right. Top tier power level. And I think it's almost like the switch in Game of Thrones, the last season, to where the whole show, you see it from Dany's perspective. And then you like see
everyone else's.
Yeah, you kind of see the problem with like her mentality. And that is kind of where I think Avengers Endgame, I think part of it was, again, like I really will say, like I do feel like the character was worked through a lot in Captain Marvel, and I really like the character. But like you said, like she doesn't need to defend herself. I just can't watch it and still not feel like, ooh, like it just takes you back like a second.
It comes out very brunt. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't buy, and again, not from you. I'm talking about the other people.
Yeah.
I don't buy the argument of she's being like a dick. I don't buy that. She's very blunt, but she's just being matter of fact. Like she's fine to help the Avengers. Like she went up, found Tony and Nebula, and brought back the Benatar. Like she did that willingly without knowing who these people are. She just did it.
Yeah.
Like I don't buy that argument. I don't buy it.
I think I feel like, and I guess where all of this started to circle back is just like, I like Captain Marvel a lot. I sometimes push back against, I feel like with Captain Marvel, it's just either people hate it or they're like, you don't deserve to have any of the criticism because this is a great movie. And I don't feel like either side is right. And so I just fall in the middle and I'm like, it's a great movie.
I think it's a really good movie. It's got its flaws. Why can't we all just move on? Why can't we just be happy? Let's all just be happy. Let's just be happy.
Okay, Jamie brings up, yes, the movie was scheduled for a big weekend when it was free, but Falcon started only a week after WandaVision. They could have easily started Loki. Yeah, but at that, they hadn't made the decision at that point, and like, why move Loki up?
But no, because also they're working on post-production up until the things are released. That 2 weeks they needed to finish post. That's, you know, it's not like these projects are done, just locked and done a month, 2 months before. It's not how it works. With big projects like this, you are especially now with the amount of output that Marvel's putting out, you're working on these up until they're released.
Yeah.
And especially now that we're getting past the COVID, now it's like, okay, we're real time now. We're back to where we were. You know, we don't have that chunk of COVID to work on these projects. Like, you know, they got those 2 weeks you could get done so much in 2 weeks. It's just that time. I understand where you're coming from. I'm not trying to discount what you're saying. It makes sense. But like if you know the ins and outs, like if you know the ins and outs of that and like how that works, which like I know Sasha, you've probably taken some classes on that. I took classes on that in college as well for my minor. You're working on this stuff all the way up until it releases. You don't have the luxury of 2 weeks. You just don't. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely. And at a certain point, you just got to stick with what you've got. You know, you can't just move things around constantly.
Yep.
Just because you move Black Widow into the future doesn't mean you pull Loki back. Because there still would have been a week on either side. Like it doesn't make sense.
You can't move it up because you are not prepared to move it up. It's not how it
Exactly.
works.
Exactly. Zach Pope is here. Zach, thank you so much for dropping by the stream.
Guy. My man.
This is
Zach, my man.
It's like a reunion over here.
He's my guy. Zach's my guy. He's my mentor. He's my friend. He's my guy.
He's the best. Thank you so much, Zach.
I gushed about him in my 7-year video. He's the man.
You did. You were so kind to all of us in that video. Guys, if you want to hear how nice of a guy Jack is, go watch his 7 years on YouTube. And at the end, he goes through about, I don't know, like 10, 15 creators.
I don't know. I don't know.
And just talks so nicely about all of us. Thank you so much, Zach.
The nice words. That's just how it is.
Thank you, Jack. Jack,
the world.
He's too nice, guys. He's genuinely the nicest guy. I just can't.
Nice. I'm just being me. I'm just being me.
You're just being you. But that's what I mean, is that you're just, it's genuine. It's not put on for the camera or to make friends or anything like that.
18 different entities.
Wow. That's incredible.
All very deserving.
And he gives us all like a good chunk of time too. It's not like you just listed everyone. Like, you're just nice and everything was individual. Anyways, I just want people to know who are only sub to me to go appreciate you for how good of a guy you are. Because you are. You are.
50. We're almost there, guys.
Get in there. Come on.
I know there's not enough people in here because I know most of the people in here already subscribed to me. Not enough people in here to get there, but
we can try.
We are chugging along. A little engine that could. 737. Boeing.
There you go.
I'm a plane now.
My
plane.
It's yeah.
We are taking flight.
taking off towards 800,000 subscribers. To the moon, baby.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay. Cumberbatch was written into parts of WandaVision, was directly in the post-credits scene. They rightly decided he would overshadow. So literally the podcast I was referencing earlier, it's called Script Notes. It's if anyone's interested in writing or how movies are written or anything, highly recommend it because I just love John August and Craig Mazin who host it. But they had an episode where Jack Schaefer, like I said, showrunner of WandaVision, comes on and is talking about different things. And like the main subject of the podcast episode was like, how do you write characters who are already written, you know? Exactly. Like, which is pretty much anything when you bring new people into the MCU because they are so well-defined characters. And she mentions, like I said before, how she was kind of given a docket of here's characters that you can maybe like include in your story if you like, who might be available. The actors are on who have said, yes, I'll do it, that sort of thing. And she mentions, she doesn't go into detail and they don't press her because like at this point, it doesn't matter. WandaVision is what it is. She does say, though, that they had a last minute kind of pull of a character. And it to me, it couldn't have been a more obvious.
No,
that's Dr. Strange.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, there's been reports that have come out that he was in the post-credit scene and they re-edited it. Kevin Feige, what are you doing? I love that man. Suffer. I will take a bullet for him. I will. If he says jump, I'll say how high. But what was that decision?
Like, why?
We covered her. You didn't have to put him in the show. We covered the grief. I love the grief. Episode 7 is one of the best written episodes of any of the MCU, in my humble opinion. It's like a minute post-credit scene, if that.
Mm-hmm.
Why? We don't even need to see him. See like one of the portals start to open up. That would have been good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm a simple man. I'm not asking for much. But give me a little taste. Give me a little something. I think it's just I love Doctor Strange. I've grown to really love Doctor Strange and his character. I think that maybe it's just me. I don't know. But we're going to see Wong in everything.
I know.
Great.
Wong's the man.
Which is great. But come on, man.
Come on. Give us a little something to bide our time.
It makes me more mad because they had it.
Yeah.
They did it. It was like they had it. That's the troll. That's the troll. Is that they had it. It was there, and they were like, nah. They were like, nah. We're just not gonna do that. And to that I say words I'm not allowed to say on YouTube.
It really is just like it is. It's the ultimate like gotcha because it's like why admit at this point that you were going to do it? Like just deny it to our face and
Yeah,
admit after we
lie to
see
me.
the movie.
Freaking lie to me. Do it.
Yeah.
I'll take it
You
like a
do it
true
you do
man.
it
Lie to me.
anyways.
Yeah.
They do it anyways, so why not
Unless you're Paul
more?
Bettany and you just say stuff that just you're not lying, you're just being stupid, but that's whatever.
Yeah,
That man dug his
it's
own grave.
he did. He did. Like as he
Love him to
said,
death, but my God.
snitches end up in ditches and
And he
he
snitched on himself, literally, and he's gonna be in a ditch.
in more ways than one, absolutely. Absolutely. Zach says Captain Marvel is a great character. Totally agree.
Yep.
And I like Brie Larson. I think
She's
honestly,
got passion for the
I
character.
don't know what it is about that movie that just pissed so many
It got
people off.
political.
And I just think people need to I don't know, just go enjoy the movie and stop making it's great because she's the first solo female superhero in the MCU to get her own movie and don't say it's horrible because of the same reason. Like that doesn't need to be what it's about. You know? And that's why I think it just became that's what the discourse on that movie has become and it's just frustrating.
It got political. She was trying to do something that you can agree with it or not. I am kind of in the middle on it, but she had the right intentions. It just wasn't executed completely the right way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a reason to completely oust her. So this is the part of cancel culture that I don't agree with. Like, she's made a comment. It got misconstrued a little bit. Let's throw her out of the MCU. What? And let's hate on everything she does from here on out. What? What is that? That's not. No. What are we doing?
And this is the part of like and it's just become more extreme. Probably since this movie, the people just pick actors or characters that are like, as far as we know at this point, as far as I'm aware, I'll say at least, there's no one in the MCU that's like secretly this like evil human being that we know about.
No, I
right?
think everyone we've seen is pure and loves the characters and they are committed and devoted. I don't.
And
see all
so
these
like
clickbait articles that are just complete and utter BS, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Who
just
reads these?
Right. Why vilify someone or think that you have the right to take them down? And Zach makes a great point of we live in a society where everyone has to everyone has to have and I would go farther than hot take. I would say an opinion. Like there's some things that I'm just like I'm not educated enough to speak on everything. So like why would I say or claim I have an opinion?
This is so perfect for a Bo Burnham bit that he did in Inside. I'm not gonna say it now, but it's basically like, can everyone just shut the F up all the time about like? I'm not gonna get, but like that's a bit he does in Inside, and it's just so true.
I need to watch it so bad. I need to watch it
tonight. It's only like an hour.
Okay.
29.
I'll put it on. I watched Space Jam last night while I was packing, so I guess tonight will be Inside.
Enjoy. I look forward to seeing your Letterboxd review.
I love that. That needs to be a t-shirt. I look forward to seeing your Letterboxd review. It's just the tone you say it in is like
a lot of t-shirts.
You do.
I look forward to seeing your Letterboxd review.
FinaticFilms merch store. Who's in?
I think I'm gonna have to hit 1,000 first. Let's baby steps. Let's get there first. I'm thinking of a rebrand soon, so maybe.
Might be a good idea. Might have some stuff in the works, people. Gonna have to
your Letterboxd review. Subscribe
to stay tuned. Okay, Christian, my boyfriend, brings up, and this is a point we talked about, and I have to agree, which we're getting.
Woo!
There were two scenes specifically in Black Widow where the post-production was not, to me, what it could have been. And the two scenes are when Alexei is standing in the window and the people from the Red Room come to the farmhouse and they shoot him with darts. The darts look very animated. The lighting on them is weird. It like breaks the illusion to me. Again, my opinion. I'm not saying this
No,
is
that's
right or
fine.
wrong,
For me, they looked fine. I don't
but
know.
it looked weird. And then the only
I'm
other
gonna have to
scene,
ultra look at the darts next on my third TV.
yeah.
Like, put my monocle on. Just really look at the
Get the
darts.
binoculars out from the back of the theater, like
Put my binoculars on. I'm gonna watch on my TV. I'm gonna be like, let me just get all up in there and just really look at these darts.
pause it, screenshot it, zoom in.
I'm gonna do a full 20-minute video analyzing the darts in Black Widow.
Analyzing the darts. Is Sasha Raquel right in her claim that these darts are poorly CGI'd? Find out in my next video.
20-minute analysis on, are those darts real or what are we looking at here, guys?
Like,
I want you guys, let me know down below in the comments. Did those darts look real or not? Let me know why. We'll have a conversation in the comments about the darts.
That would be hilarious. But I don't know what it was. I think it was just the lighting was weird to me, that they looked fake.
I don't know. I was just making sure second time around my mom didn't have a heart attack because of the light.
Yeah.
It happened so
no, you're right.
I'm like, are you okay?
Like, are you good?
Don't
Please.
have a heart attack. Are you okay? She jumped a few times in that movie. I was like, are you fine? Are you good?
Are we good?
Are you good? Are you good? Do we need to get somebody? Are you good?
Are you good? The other scene that I feel like the CGI was maybe a little bit lacking, or maybe it was just weird to me, was in the end when Yelena, she puts her staff and she's like, she says something about like, this is a cool way to go out or whatever, or like some
She's
line
like,
to
this has been
Natasha.
fun or something like that.
Yes, exactly. She sticks it in there, and when it blows up, it just, I don't want to say it looks green screened, but the lighting doesn't match right with the
when
sky.
When she goes off the side, it looks a little sus.
That's what I'm talking about.
But like, that's kind of suspension of disbelief. Like, let's just let that lie. That's really, there's a lot going on in that frame. Let's just leave it be. There's a floating fortress going on right now.
Yeah. No. And that's where I'm like, it's fine. And it's not a huge problem. I think the only thing I just thought was funny was like, we waited an extra year for this movie, and like, no one wanted to like go back over it and be like,
they're like,
we could do some touch-ups.
Let's put on our binoculars and let's like hand paint in Yelena and like really make sure in that like centimeter of the screen that she's on, like, okay, yeah, yep, it looks real.
Okay, no, we fixed it. We fixed it. They'll be satisfied now.
That's funny though. And then those dark Kevin Feige's like, I love the movie, but those darts though, I don't know how I feel about those darts.
Look a little fake to me. Can we fix that?
That's Kevin Feige's one thing. He's like, yes, I've got a few notes. One, Yelena going off the side. I don't buy that. You know, she's falling off a flying fortress in the middle of the sky, but I don't buy that. Second, those darts, they just don't, they look a little off to me. And those,
yeah, can we fix that?
Those were Kevin Feige's notes.
And they're like, I'm sure we'll get back to the FX department. Can we, what else? He's like, oh no, that was it. That's all.
Yeah, no, that was it. It's just the darts and her fault. Yeah.
It's right. Other than that, like it's fantastic, but like, yeah, that's kind of a glaring issue that we need to address.
Sasha Raquel is going to overanalyze that. Like, we need to make sure this is we really need to get this one down, guys. Like, this is a top priority.
Yeah. Just for me, guys. Come on, Kevin.
Feige watches. He's in here. Kevin. First off, I'm sorry for so much crap. Second, I love you. Third, fix the freaking darts.
See, we have another hater of the darts. Darts ruin the whole movie. Easily places it 23 out of 23 MCU movies. If they just got the darts right, it would be higher on the ranking.
Go back to Zach's, everyone's got to have a hot take.
This is mine. Listen, this is mine.
The darts ruined it all.
Now that Sasha mentioned as Yelena, okay, she talks so much about cool ways to go. The girl has been kidnapped since she was 6.
She's just so hardened. She's just like, if I'm going to go, I don't think she's like, this is a very touchy topic for a lot of people. I think if there was a scenario in which something like that may take place, I think Natasha's death could have been a catalyst for that, because it's like kind of really the only true family she has. I'm tiptoeing around. I'm trying to
Yeah.
tiptoe around the best I can. And she seems fine. I think she's just so battle hardened that she's like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. And would it be cool? Would it not be? I don't know.
It kind of goes back to that's something like a kid would say.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Back to she's got the mind of like an 8-year-old. And that I'm
Yeah.
saying that in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, no, it's a great
people
point.
can run me over with a dump truck. Let's go.
Zach says, and I think this is pointed at you, Jack, because this is your almost certain. We seeing Kang next week or what?
Bitch, we walking into the quantum realm in the first 10 minutes next week, and we are going to see Kang, maybe just in the post-credit scene, but he's going to be there. Tell me that didn't look like the quantum realm in the background. Tell me it didn't. Really Tell me it didn't.
It did.
I hurt my hand punching my chair.
This is how passionate he is, guys. This is why you need him on your team as a consultant.
And if we don't see him, y'all can come in the Loki and tell me I'm wrong, and I will still deny it.
That is what fan fiction is for, Jack. At that point, you rewrite the whole show and fix it. And then they'll come to you.
This is my shot.
It is.
I see all those ads like, do you have an idea for a TV show? I'm like, I do. I'm going to rewrite the end of Loki.
I do, actually. Funny you ask.
Funny you mention that. I do. And it's kind of for a big franchise. You might have heard of them.
And I kind of need them to refilm it the way I wrote it and air it next week.
Yeah, and it needs to be done by next week.
Exactly. M-Chat says Fanatic Film merch store. I would buy it. Listen, I'm waiting for the I'm down bad, the movie draft team Sasha. That's what you need to do.
It's gonna be credited to Sasha. You can be like, guys, or it's gonna be the first one. I'd have to go back in the good old archives, and which I'm still eventually gonna cut up a sizzle reel of this series. That's a pain in my ass. Anyway, yeah, it's like the guys, I'm down bad. It's something like that. Yeah, and then it's gonna be like Sasha Raquel.
Yeah. That would be great.
I look forward to seeing your Letterboxd review.
Yes, or yours could even be what is you said it in a couple of
mine's just gonna be like smashing chair noise, internal screams and cries. Like that's just really what mine's gonna
yours will be the Jack movie drafts team like sticker bundle, and it'll just be like smash his chair,
like a broken chair, some like each internal cries, and me with my hands are always in my face. Me with my face in my hands. Like that's just really what we're gonna do. Just my internal pain. That's really what that's. Yeah, sticker bundle of my internal pain.
Yes, absolutely.
All I feel is pain.
It's what did Colin say on the Pixar podcast? Like once you face it for the first time, it just never goes away.
Yep. I live with it.
Christian mentions, and I have to bring this up because we got into the Loki live. Who came up?
Is this another? Are we holding People's Court again?
No People's Court tonight. This I 100% back this up. Turn to me probably in like the first, whenever Dreykov's daughter is mentioned for the first time, Christian goes,
Taskmaster.
That's Taskmaster. And I was like, yup, pretty much. And then it happens.
Sure
and he was
enough.
like, you better bring this up in your review.
Here we are.
So here we are. So Christian, you have full credit on this. I'm still willing to give to let the People's Court rest. I'm still willing to give a little bit of credit to the people behind the court, the person behind the what am I trying to say? Wizard of Oz theory for Loki. I'll give a little credit there, but I think it needs to be like split custody type theory.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at you. It just came in. It was funny. No, the one above it.
Jack can be like, I'm feeling about. Yes, that's the goal I'm talking about.
That one cuts so deep. You just need to stop with that. That one cuts really deep.
This is how you know Ricardo is a real fan, because this is like.
That one cuts too deep. That one cuts too deep. That's mean. That was mean. That was really mean. That one cuts really deep.
That's the one I was talking about, Ricardo. I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry.
Deep. That's the complete encapsulation of the internalized pain that I deal with each week. I got a good feeling about this one. It just gets absolutely destroyed in the poll.
Just done for. That is the story kind of your...
And you wonder why we're anonymous now.
This is why, people. He needs to give himself a chance. And as the host, he has full authority to make...
All I'm going to say is ever since we're anonymous, I've won 2. So is there a correlation there? I'm not going to say there is, but it looks kind of sus on all of you.
If y'all are choosing intentionally to go against Jack's team or just pick someone else you like, say it with your chest.
That's a little sus on y'all.
It is. It is. Zach said, and we'll get... Jack, I'll give you a second after we read through these last few comments to give your overall thoughts. But Zach said, I just didn't love Taskmaster, loved Black Widow though, and the CGI explosion with Pew and some stuff was a bit... I don't mean that it's cheesy in the sense of like, I don't believe it, or like, I'm like, oh, she's really gonna survive falling off this thing. I think it was just like a little bit of like, okay, I can see the green screen, and some people are mentioning the wires. Ewan's mentioning the wires. Jack, do you...
What wires? Sorry, I guess I didn't have my monocle on when I was watching the movie.
Yeah. Jack, come on. I know you wear glasses. Did you forget to bring them to the theater?
No, I watched my contacts. Obviously, those are failing.
Might need to go to the optometrist, Jack.
Well, got to find one. Which, by the way, just as this is a complete sidebar from what we're talking about. So I have to get like my license changed. You know, like that's a thing that has to happen now that I live in Dallas. You know when the next the earliest appointment for me to get my license changed? You know,
oh my gosh. I don't even want to know.
And this DMV that I got is like 26 miles away. You want to know the earliest that I can get my license changed? Let me pull up my reservation. So today is July 10th.
July 10th.
For the people at home. That date right there looks like an October 8th, 2021 to me.
Oh my gosh.
Gives me plenty of time to get all my papers in check, I guess.
True. You better not forget anything when you go on that visit.
Yeah, for real. That would be bad. And I better not get pulled over because, well, you know what?
So you're saying it expires between now and October?
Oh no, I don't know what the thing is. I looked it up. I don't know. It's kind of just like a gray area. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't think I'm an official complete resident of Texas yet. I think I'm still in the moving process. I don't know. It's gray area. If my parents were, because they were here, if they were concerned, they would have been like, yo, you need to go like tomorrow. And they were just like, get the appointment and go when you can go. And just if anyone's got a problem, just say, well, you guys were booked down until freaking October. What do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I couldn't really do anything about it, guys.
Yeah, like, what do you want from me? I don't know, to go walk in. Well, I'm not waiting in a 4-hour line. I don't have that much time in the day. Work a full-time job. Not. What you want?
And you're not spending your day off at the DMV. Like, that's just not
freaking A
happening. Well, it'll be the day before Alex's birthday. So happy early birthday, Alex.
Happy early birthday. I'm getting my license the day before.
Jack will be thinking about you as he's standing in line at the DMV with waiting for his appointment.
Good thing, though, I don't got to take no driver test or nothing. I just have to
change it out.
I just have to surrender my Arizona license. That's all I have to do.
There you go. Let them drop it in the shredder or whatever they do with it.
I hope they just hole punch it. It's, it's like the best photo I've taken for any of those. So
that's good. That's good. You need a good driver's license photo. Mine is the same one I've had since I was 15. I don't feel like I really look any different, but I'm also like, I feel like
I had to get a new one for all the travel stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta get like that travel one now, or you gotta carry your passport. I'm not carrying my passport to do inter country travel. And I was turned 21, so I was like, let's get the sideways one.
I have not gotten my 21 sideways license yet because I just don't want to pay the money to get it.
It doesn't matter. I don't drink anyway.
I'm just like, you can look. Like, the date's correct, so I'm not spending the money. It doesn't expire till like 4 or 5 years from now. So I'm like, why would I pay the $25 now?
Yeah.
Like, why? Zach says, I'll be shocked if Majors, speaking about Jonathan Majors as King, since he was casted so early, if he doesn't show up next week. I think Jack feels pretty much the same way.
He better. or a lot of people are gonna be looking at me like, bro.
It's
I'm gonna be like, I'll talk to you next week.
I need a break.
Guys, I'm taking a week off from videos. Sorry, something came up.
Sorry. No Loki live tonight.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I got at work until the next day. Like I had to sleep over. Like it's just not happening.
I'm just really busy. Just really,
There's a lot going
really
on right
busy.
now, guys.
Really busy. Okay, last comment, then we'll give our overall thoughts. Okay, Jamie says, have you seen the complaint that the hysterectomy reveal was too jokey? I replied that it was so serious, it was the only thing to shut. Okay, I think this is funny.
Yeah,
and I have not
give
seen this
your
complaint.
thoughts.
Yeah,
I haven't
so
seen this complaint.
I've not seen this complaint anywhere, and I think the reason it's funny is because like these characters, there's no really time for like they can't be upset about the fact that like they can't have children or anything like that. It's a fact of their life. So like people cope with things in different ways. So for them to be able to talk about that, and to me it was like the level up from like if he's going to make the joke, like the period joke, like that time of the month or something, they're going to be like, oh no, actually the organization that you worked for made it so that will never happen for us.
And the thing about it is like the way she's saying it feels. You get a little squirt. You're like, like it works because
Yeah.
she's saying it so matter of fact. She's not saying it in a funny way. It comes off funny because of how matter of fact it is. But
Mm-hmm.
she's being serious. She's like, oh, like they do not above my pay grade, but like she says it so matter of factly.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yo, dick, that it comes off funny. But it also comes off like, oh, like shell shock moment. Like I don't think that's
I don't think it's too jokey, and just because like a hysterectomy is usually like under, in this case obviously we already under, if you know what a hysterectomy is, which we're not going to go into detail about that,
that's
it's
a different show.
It's like it's understood if you have a forced hysterectomy that that is like bad. No one's making a joke like, "Oh, we're going to do this to someone." Mm-hmm. They're making the joke about something that's already happened to them, and they're the character, the one that suffered from it. But otherwise, like a hysterectomy isn't something to, like, it's just a medical procedure usually done for the benefit of the woman, you know, if it's done in the proper way and not the way it is this movie. But like it's already been addressed in other MCU movies that this has happened, and it's been given that sobering moment, and they've already referenced it in the movie prior to this point about, did you ever want kids? So like I don't really see where any of those complaints would come from, because it's like I don't think any woman would go into that theater and say like, I feel personally like offended that they made this joke. I mean I can't speak, like I can't speak to that, but I don't assume that would be.
It all comes back around to the fact the way she says it isn't a joke. She's saying it very, very matter of factly. She's not saying it in a joking manner. Like if you really go back and watch and examine the way that she's talking, she's just saying it matter of factly. She's not the way it comes off is funny because of the like it's like, oh, sex organs, you know, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
like, it comes off as funny, but it's not. Like you also kind of cringe in the way of like, this is kind of an uncomfortable thing. And she says it very matter of factly. She's not like just throwing out a joke. Like she's saying it very matter of factly. Like they did this and this and this, and you want to joke about my time of the month. Like that's that's
absolutely.
I don't understand that. People are always trying to find problems with movies.
They always will. Well, Jack, final thoughts on Black Widow. I mean, he has a review up, so people go subscribe to him, go watch his full review, his ranking as well, because he gets more into it there. But
full spoiler review going up on Monday too. I didn't think I was going to do one, but I was like, let's just do it.
Might as well. But anything you want to say here to the people about the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I don't have a lot of complaints. I think that it drags it sometimes. Taskmaster may not have been executed the right way in terms of the villain himself. I think where it went was fine. I actually kind of enjoyed it in the emotional department, the way it worked with Natasha's character. I like the moments of family. I like the themes that are thrown throughout. I think the beginning sequence of like in Ohio is great. I think that's very well executed. I also love the opening credits scene. I think very Bond-esque, like we talked about. it's a great swan song for Natasha. If you look at some of the very subtle moments, some of the things they do, like I said at the end with like the Vormir theme, again, I think is what it is, as she flies off and you see, you know, you see like the fireflies. It's those small nods to the fact that we know where her fate is going and we just kind of got to accept it. I liked that they did that. The performances are great. And of course, Florence Pugh is the scene stealer. She's just the best. She can do no wrong.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I loved this movie. It's definitely up there for me in MCU movies because I think I was more surprised at how much I loved it just because it wasn't like favorite character. It was something you know, I've been waiting for it for a long time. So I was like, oh, it could have the opportunity to disappoint me, but it absolutely did not. I think any of my gripes or criticisms that we've talked to, like Taskmaster or anything like that, it's nothing to do with the individual movie. It's just kind of when you're talking about all of this like IP that Marvel has at its disposal, some of it's not going to be used in the way that fans expect it to be. And that's totally okay. And I really enjoyed the direction it went. But I agree with you, Jack. Like, just a bummer that we know that that's pretty much checked off for the time being, that we won't see that anytime soon. But overall, I loved the movie. I loved everything about it. And I'm super, super excited for Hawkeye, more than I was anyways, because of Yelena and Florence Pugh and getting to continue that in the MCU. Absolutely. And with that, we're going to end this stream, guys. Jack, I want to say a major thank you to you, not only for everything you've done for me on YouTube and helping me learn the ropes and being such a supportive person in this community, being the first one to reach out to me, but thank you so much for being here today and talking to me about Marvel. I know we both love it. And I mean, the people won't have to wait long because we'll have our Loki Live for the finale on next Wednesday. It's only a few days away.
I mean, you talk me up like I'm a superstar. I'm just a normal guy, but I'd do it all over again. You're a great personality, a great person in this community, and a shining light on this community. So my pleasure. No gripes. I'd do it all over again. And of course, I'm happy to be here. I love talking about Black Widow. So it was cool. And we'll be back for Loki on Wednesday.
Yes, absolutely. So for all of you who are still here, who are not subscribed to Jack, 1, how dare you not be? 2, we'll forgive you if you go subscribe now. Turn on the notification bell. We're going to be doing Loki Live. I'm supposed to be on some upcoming movie drafts that you're not going to want to miss, I don't think. What did you say? What did you say? I think the people missed it.
I was coughing. Tuesday. I was
Tuesday.
Sorry, coughed. I was coughing. Sorry.
I think I got a little bug too. Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday. MCU. Oh, you guys. Sorry, that was weird. I don't know what that was. It's already scheduled. Go like it. Oh, that was weird.
So go subscribe and check that out. And that was weird. It was weird. It's weird that it happened to both of us.
Coffee and
it's weird that it would. Exactly. And it's weird that people will probably get immunity from it if they go subscribe to your channel.
Yeah. I heard that's like the next best vaccine. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, guys, we're going to end the live. Thank you to all of you who stopped by. I so appreciate it. I will see you guys when I see you. And again, go check out Jack's channel. You don't want to miss it. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.